It's been such a long time since Boston led the way. It's more than a feeling. It's Mike and Tom to start the day. The heart of Massachusetts should be freedom, justice, and liberty. Freedom led pilgrims to Plymouth Bay. Salem trials had justice too late. The sons of liberty spilled the tea, and then the redcoats spilled their blood. The shot heard around the world rang out from the Bay State. Boston's strong and ready to defend. It's where revolution started and ends. It's been such a long time since Boston led the way. It's more than a feeling. It's Mike and Tom to start the day. Quincy Market, Freedom Trail, Charles River, Boston Harbor, Bunker Hill, Griffin's Wharf, Fenway Park, Old North Charge. It's been such a long time since Boston led the way. It's more than a feeling. It's Mike and Tom to start the day.
Boom. How's that? Oh my God. I'm not going to put up with this today. They think I'm talking to them. So, here we are. We're going to talk about a few things today. I'm going to go over the Gretchen Voss article, pointing out some issues that are there that she probably maybe didn't look at. Hey, John. Hey, the Miss Oracle. And not your mama. Good to see you guys. Usually if I stop talking, they stop. Hi, Fire. But the Gretchen Voss article is she did this last time when she wrote the article. I went over it last time. She's just a different person. Like she was in the same room that everyone else watched. So how she sees what she sees is, we're going to maybe look at some background. Yeah, we have a long friendship, and it's very special, and it's one of a kind. There will never be another friendship like this, and I'm blessed to have it. And that goes back a long time, guys. At least 35 years. Speaking about going back, uh-oh. What power we got? I want to see if I can pull up some old photos. See if I can do that while I'm reading. Because I have a photo. Hi, Kristen. I have a photo that I almost swore I was never going to share. But no, this is different. So I walk out to my car, and there's a manila envelope on my car, like a folder. A folder would fit in it. One of them 8x11 manila folders under the windshield, and it said Tom on the outside of it. So I opened it up. And it has some pretty bad stuff on it. Somebody printed some Photoshop stuff. And it was an obvious attempt to get me to stop. And I wasn't going to do it. So that set me off. And I'm pretty sure it came from a place that has a budget that they have for printers. So if you guys out there think it's acceptable to use your work printer to make a bad photo of somebody and print it and give it to somebody, put it on their thing, is that okay? Is that allowed? I need to check, because I don't know what's going on lately here. Is that like, if anyone got that under their windshield, would they be okay with it? Like, would Mike Crawford be okay with that? What would he do if he had this these things under his windshield. He didn't get anything. So I got that under my windshield because they wanted me to stop. I didn't stop. Morning, styling. And then they demonetized my channel, which means what I'm doing here, they took it away. They took the money away. So I couldn't make any money. And I kept going. Every day, I kept going to the trial. Because it wasn't necessarily about the money, okay? It was about showing you guys, public, what I can see through my camera. So I get this under my windshield. They demonetized me, and I kept going. Mike Crawford got an email from Kate. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm going to take a break. I've been thinking about it, and I'm going to, I'm getting too deep into this, and, I'm going to walk away in the middle of Karen Reed, of getting this all done. You're going to up and just walk away because you're scared of what Kate said. Okay. Okay. You quit Karen Reed over Kate. And you don't have Karen Reed on your show, but you have Kate on your show. As JLR said, I don't think there's any coming back from that one, I don't know, bud. I don't know. Okay, stop. I'm gonna answer your question because this is this legitimate. And if you want to come up and I can send you a link if you want to have a discussion about it, because I don't think people can understand this part. Okay, and it's not necessarily petty, right? Mike said, "quote You're simping for the guy." He said I was simping for Aiden. Okay, and I'm not. I'm not. I'm simping for the First Amendment. Okay? Now just hear me out for a second. Just like they used Karen Reed in Norfolk County and tried to get her charged with murder, which they did. They tried to get it to stick. It didn't. Karen didn't do it, but she's not the problem in Norfolk County. It's not a Karen Reed problem. They didn't wake up one day and say, let's just ruin this girl's life out of the blue for no reason. She was in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Okay? And Karen got railroaded by Norfolk County. It could be Susan. Hi, Sue. It could be Susan that just came in here. It could be her, not Karen. It could be any one of us. And that's what we were all trying to say. Good morning, sweetie. Now, do I think Karen is absolutely innocent? 100% innocent. 100%. Now, I can get into that question after this one. When it comes to Aiden, right? He said it last night. You don't have to like him to support him. We're not having dinner at my table. I promise you. Me and Aiden aren't like that. We don't go play basketball. So if I'm not friends with him like that, right? What am I standing up for? What am I standing up for? What am I doing here? I'm trying to bring attention to the First Amendment because Aiden is the Karen Reed of the whole situation with that. Does that kind of put it into perspective? He's not the problem. They're going after the First Amendment, using him as an example. They tried to put the murder charge on Karen and use her as an example. So, do you know what I'm saying? Like, th- that's a problem. That's a big problem. And you don't have to like Karen Reed to support her. And you don't have to like Aiden to support her, because you're not supporting Aiden and you're not supporting Karen. You're supporting what the problem is. And I don't know what your problem is, but that's the problem. I don't get it. I don't see what's so hard to understand. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question, Sage? I hope I answered it. It- yes. Well, they tie them together, right? And you know what? And you know what? Hey, good job, JLR guy, right? He had to point out the Caitlin Albert video that I made, that I apologized for twice, but he had to bring that up because he found it. He's such a great investigator. Well, that's 3 years ago, guy. But let's go. So I get demonetized. I keep going. They leave nasty pictures on my car. I keep going. They took away my retirement. Okay. They took away my retirement. So I lost $3,500 a month times 10 years. Someone do the math. 3,500 times 12 times 10. And that's why I was mad. Now, the fact that she works in the insurance division for the state of Massachusetts and made a phone call to the people that have my insurance policy, and 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 I have access to this, and it shows that, and the pictures may possibly show coming from a state-owned printer. So yeah, I was upset, and I'm sorry, and I apologize for that. So I don't know what else you want me to do, but I did all I can do. I made a mistake and I apologize for it, right? So I was upset. All that was coming down on me at the same time. So I lost my retirement, 3,500. I lost my YouTube, which was like 2,500. Gone. Poof. Poof. Bye bye. So I am apologizing, Stalin, because um, Caitlin Albert works for a state agency that does stuff like this. We'll say. So there's your number right there. That's why I was mad, and that's why I said what I said. And I'm sorry, it was wrong. I shouldn't have said it. But that's what I lost. I lost that money right there. Gone forever. Poof. What did they lose? Did Mike lose anything? What if Mike lost that money? Would he be okay? Would would Mike Crawford be okay with that type of a loss? Right? All because I was filming Karen Reed and showing you guys all what's going on. So now I have them fighting me, right? And I get all the people that are inside the inside circle people. They all want piece of the action because they're all better than me. So they all start their own channels and everyone does their own thing, and here we are. So was I simping for Aiden? I simp for me, as do you. Every single person here simps for themselves. They have to. So I want the First Amendment to be free. Not I don't have any kids, but for your kids and for their kids and 20 years down the road. The First Amendment, it's priceless. We can't let that go. And the minute they start messing with it, we lose. And that's what they're doing right here. And they're using Aiden as a vessel to do this. I wouldn't have this ability to come online and talk to you guys right now if it wasn't for Aiden. If they came and shut him down like they wanted to, they would have shut every one of us down. All us little guys shut down across the board. And that'd be okay with you guys, right? Is that okay? Is that okay with them? I mean, I'm just saying. And back in the days, by the way, let's go back for a second. Let's rewind, Mike. Let's go back. If we're gonna go backwards, right? Let's go back, okay? How much money has Mike Crawford raised for Karen Reed? How much money did Mike Crawford make with Mark Bedrow on his channel? He made bank. I will tell you right now, as another YouTube creator, he made good money when he had Bedrow on. How much did he donate to Karen Reed? Because he was so excited getting his YouTube check, going to donate to Karen. He was really excited about that. You know, how much is JFK sent to Karen Reed? Just checking. Because I know me and my mods, by the way, me and my mods did a Star Drive-In thing and made thousands of dollars for Karen. We did that a whole bunch of times. We made a whole bunch of money for that girl. Didn't make the most, didn't make the least, but we all chipped in and we all gave to Karen, every one of us. And guess what? She got money. She got a great defense, and it worked. It worked, guys. What you did worked. That's huge. That's massive. But we did that, guys. Imagine that. Imagine that. She was going to go to church alone. Let me ask you, would you let her go sit in church alone? Even if you don't know Karen Reed, if you, as a person, would you let that girl go to church alone and sit? Forget about her asking, you as a person. Think about that for a second. So I'll tell you what happened. Karen goes to this little church that we both know of. I've been there many times before. She was going to church with an older gentleman who was retired cop, so she felt safe with him there. He got sick, so she was going alone, and she didn't feel comfortable going alone. It was at night, clocks had changed, it was darker out, Boston, whatever. So I said, if you ever want company, let me know. She goes, well, I shouldn't say, I don't want to say the exact words, but in other words was, listen, anytime you want to come and sit with me, I'm more than happy. And I said, great. I said, we don't got to talk or anything. I'm not going to bring any cameras. It's not about that. So what's his problem with that? Would you let Karen Reed sit by herself at church? It's just church, guys. It's just sitting in the same freaking piece of wood. It's not a date. It's not a date, okay? It's definitely not a date. It's you being a nice person. If you had the chance to go sit next to her, just to sit next to her in church and make sure she wasn't alone, what would you do? What would you let her say fuck her, sit alone? Who? I was doing my best, Amanda, and that's all I can do. I can't do any better than that. And I was trying to be a nice person, and I fail sometimes, you guys. Believe it or not, I fail. They get a video of me yelling, jumping around like an idiot because I was being an idiot. I failed. I I have good days, I have bad days. I'm human, and that's I can't, you know? Yeah, and it's not really again, it for me, it's we're both Catholic, so it's the church, not it's not it's just as a person, church is quiet. You can't talk in church. You go to church and you go to pray. So, to be asked to pray with her, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't wanna do that with her? 'Cause her and her family, whole family, is very spiritual. So, yeah. I don't know what they're gonna flip. I don't understand it. I again, I think they're jealous that they weren't there earlier because they weren't even there later. They came after the fact, when it was all safe and clear, you know? They weren't in those after court scrums when you're getting slammed in the head with the cameras, you know? I was front row every day for you guys. So, all right. Are we done? Do you guys have any more questions? Correct. Absolutely correct. Without him, none of this happens. And I'm not simping for him. I'm supporting him because of what they're doing to him. What's the problem? I'm missing what their disconnect is. Do they hate Aiden that much that they just no matter what he's got to go to jail? Is that what their big thing is? Because that ain't ever gonna happen. That's just a pipe dream. And for people to think that way, hey, listen, this is kind of what bothers me, and I've said it from day one. People don't understand what it's like to be in handcuffs when you're not free to go, and now you're custody of the state. Would you want that? Would you want to be custody of the state in any way? Uh-uh. Yeah. John, I think you're right, and it's sad. If it's about clicks and views, think about what they talk about, right? What substance are they giving you as a viewer? What are they giving you? Like, I don't understand. What's the draw to that? It's just what? I don't understand. See this right here? And even after all that was done to me and I lost all that money, I'm still here doing this stuff for you guys. Cause it ain't about that. If it was about money, listen, guys, if this was about money, it would be done a completely different way. And it's not about money. That's it. It's about that right there for all you guys. For the people that there are people that are in wheelchairs and people that are like confined in their bed that don't have the ability to get out and get about. and they tune in, and they say I take them there, and I try. That's the best thing and the most best compliment I ever got, because that was my goal, right? And look at this, they're arresting a journalist. Call him what you want. He writes stories that get published. That's the definition of a journalist. So I got the camera on a journalist getting arrested for what he wrote and for what he said. That's a violation of the First Amendment, 100%. And there's not enough people screaming about this. Oh yeah. So yeah, and I put up with all the nonsense. The other day, James Jackson quipped in out of the blue. Here comes James Jackson giving me shit about something, right? Of all people, of all people. I don't think we want to go down. Oh, we're going backwards, James, because you want to talk about the Caitlyn video. Want me to talk about your ex girlfriend? We're going to go backwards. Is that what we're going to do? Just checking, James, because I want to go this way. But if you guys are stuck on stupid and talking about the video that's 3 years old, that, yeah, sorry, I was a little upset. Sorry. Sorry it offends you so much. Oh, sorry. You're sticking up for Caitlyn Albert? Is that what that is? Sure sounds like it. Yeah. They're both sticking up for Caitlyn because they're friends with Kate. Nice. Makes sense now. I swear man, they're all the same, man. They're all the same people. Kate Jackson. Yeah. And they're hanging a freaking a jail sentence over his head. I'd be crying too. You kidding me? I think every one of us in here would be crying because nobody wants to go to jail for something that they said or something that they read. I got a letter up there by an attorney who wants to sue me over stuff that was never said. She thinks it was. Good luck with that. But I got a letter threatening to sue me by a famous YouTube attorney too. Oh, then I had the guy from the doctor from the ER come out and hit me out of the blue. Yep, you guys. Yeah, I remember you bought us coffees. And man, to have a hot cup of coffee in your hands when it's been like sub freezing is the best thing in the world, man. So there you go. See, I I wouldn't even do 4. I'd maybe do none. That's just me because I know what it's like to put handcuffs on somebody and deny them that freedom because that's what they did. And again, based on what? What? A rolling rally? Okay, well that's allowed. So now what? What do you get them on? And you know what else is this? It's funny you say that, Creamy. No, I haven't flipped once. I haven't stared off the path, not once. When Will came to town, he got in my car. I took him around to show him this is this is that, this is this. I didn't have to convince him, didn't have to tell him nothing. I just showed him. There you go, McAlbert's house. And Will was like, oh my God, because he didn't think it was so small. And when Melanie was here, her and Bedro, I spoke to both of them. This is this person. Take a picture with this one. I got pictures for everybody. You know? Exactly. I was there. Jealousy. It's jealousy. And not just that, but like they were saying, clicks and views. clicks and views. Yeah. And you know what? I don't know. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. We um we just did a parade for Aiden. I'm sorry, we should have said we're in a parade and Turtle Boy was featured in the parade. It's pretty cool. So let me put this up on the screen. Miss Gretchen Voss. Mrs. Voss. Oh. Losing my mind here. Come on. This infuriates me, this stupid article. It really is. And you know what? Let me tell you something else about Will, okay? Even after Will came here and saw the lawn, he still didn't say yes or no. He was still like determined, open-minded to hearing everybody and hearing everything, and he did. You know, the Vegas cops, they were there too, right? And they were easy to go to it, you know. But Will actually took the time and read every document and read every angle and read it. He went through it all. And then he went to it and he went through it in his mind so he could see this is 34 Fairview. The deputy chief's right across the street. Oh, okay. He can see it all. They did. They're trying to take Aiden down. They're trying to take Will. They're trying to take Emily C because she hasn't done nothing. Melanie Little, they're yelling at now. None of it helps John O'Keefe. And none of it helps Aiden. Karen's taken care of. Karen's all set. Karen's free. Aiden's not free. Yeah, I got shit for talking to Grant. Remember that? I like to think that you guys, as well as myself, but I think mostly you guys too. I think we all, that day with breakfast, we at least got Grant's brain open to something. And from there, it just snowballed. I think we really had something to do with that. I'm going to ask him. I'm actually going to ask him that because I think we did. Yeah, Mike. Yeah, Mike hates Grant. Period. Mike accused him of a bunch of stuff. He sent me a text with a bunch of stuff about Grant. And you know the poor kid, right? You know he's not a cookie cutter type of a person and mold. He's specifically Grant, and he don't like that. I don't know why he doesn't like Grant. Either way, he got so scared, he ran, he took off, and he bailed. He bailed on everybody. And that's not me making drama. That's a fact. He left. Don't care why. Why is not relevant. Think about you. What if you had your wife? You think it's okay to cheat only when it's okay in your mind? Like you have a window you can do that here, and that's weird. But the driveway slants. I know that it goes. It's a good little thing. It's a little 51A deal. 51B, 51A. All right, let's go into the Karen Reed campaign. This is Gretchen Voss. Backstory is she wrote an article before, and it set up the Karen Reed camp per se. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read it, and when I see an issue, I'm going to stop and write it down, and we'll make a little list for her so that we can give it to the editor and say, "Hey, we can just do it right here. Make a flag and flag it here, can't we? got to be a way. There's got to be a way. All right, let me get out of that. All right, here we go. Let me read it. For 3 years, the witnesses in the Karen Reed murder trial were harassed at their jobs, their homes, their children's sports games. It wasn't random. It wasn't a movement of true believers. It was a coordinated campaign against them, and now they're fighting back. Oh, oh. So, like, are we like going to war now? So, issue number one, at their jobs. Chris Albert, I give him that one, okay? We're going to be fair here. We're going to be fair. Their homes, okay, I can give them that. The children's sports games, no. It was one game. It wasn't games. See how she has an S as plural? It was one time. It wasn't random. It wasn't a movement of true believers. Another thing here. It was a movement of true believers. It was a movement of amazing people that believed that she was innocent and that the facts don't match what's in front of us. Look at in the rain, still out there every day. Jen McCabe spotted him coming across the bleachers at her daughter's lacrosse game. Aiden Kearney, the blogger, oh my God, who goes by the name of Turtle Boy, arrived in a mask and then pulled it off. He wasn't hiding. He shoved his phone, the video rolling, into her face. Hey, Jen, are you worried about what's going to happen to your family when you go to jail? She looked straight ahead from under her baseball cap, trying to ignore him, trying to disappear as other parents gawked. Jen, did you think you could outsmart Kieran Reed? Yes or no? School officials eventually moved in and escorted Canny from the stadium in Billerica. But he didn't go quietly. Cop killers, that's what they are. They're cop killers, he hollered as they walked out. All right, again, to be fair, this whole thing here, okay, I can see that happening. Yeah, we give this to them as what happened. I'll concede that, right? Hey, Dave, how you doing, bud? I'll concede that. I'll give him that. Okay. Yeah. School officials eventually moved in and escorted Canny from the stadium in Billerica. He didn't go quietly. Cop killers. That's what. All right. I'll give him that because that was also in the video. So I'll give it. That happened. Um, the cop he was referring to was John O'Keefe, a Boston police officer found dead in the snow in Canton on the morning of January 29th, 2020. He had last been seen alive earlier that night after drinking at two local bars when he got into the Reed's Lexus SUV with her during a nor'easter. All right. We're good so far, right? Oh, what's this gold coin thing? Jewels. 10 jewels. Sarah, thank you. Thank you. Hi, Dave, new member. Sarah's got these jewels kicking off. What's this going on? I don't understand. Is that a jewels good? Connie. It's Connie. Okay. Aiden Connie. Not Kenny. Connie. Okay. They did it to Tom Beatty and his daughter, too. Yeah, they arrested Tom Beatty. Think about that. Again, just to shut him up. Freaking poor guy. Dejana Perkins is another Greg Connor. That's okay, dear. No big deal. It's good. Just reading. It's okay. But there's other stuff I got to send it to you. Um, nice. All right. Back to this real quick. After Reed was indicted for manslaughter and then second-degree murder in 2022. Now we all know why that happened. They slammed her for manslaughter. She didn't plea. She says, "Nope, I didn't do it. I'll go to trial." And they're like, "Shit, what do we do?" They upped the charges to second-degree murder, and she still didn't plea. That's what they wanted. They wanted this poor girl to say, "Okay, okay, I'll take whatever you give me." Just she said, "No way, not going to happen." Good for her. All right. After Reed was indicted for second-degree murder, she maintained her innocence, claiming the people inside the house where she dropped off O'Keefe, Brian Albert, his nephew Colin, and O'Keefe's close friend McCabe were the ones responsible for his death. She argued they were able to cover it up thanks to a conspiracy involving dozens of people, including officials from the Norfolk County District's Office and Massachusetts State Police, police first responders, and expert witnesses. Connie was the first to report this alternative theory, raising questions about what he had. Think think right there, right there. You see that? Are you telling me the government doesn't want his data? Blind spot needs a wrench. I have to do it. Make sure blind spot chats, and then when I go to YouTube, I'll do it. Back to this. You see what they said there? They wanted to know what he had. That's why they wanted his phone. They want to know what he has for information. Shut him up. Discredit him. Chuck him. So the discredit part is here you go. They already locked him up. Now they can say they locked him up. Don't listen to him. He's been in jail before. This Gretchen Voss's article says he's lying. There's 2, 3. You don't win. And why we're not fighting the government? Because that's what they're doing. They're taking away his First Amendment. He can't read or write on the internet or say anything. Blows my mind. And the people that are like me on the internet yelling and screaming, it's because the First Amendment, they're taking it away from us because they're not going after you right now. That's what the deal is. Oh, I'm safe. They ain't going to come after my channel. I got nothing to worry about. Screw him. He's bad. Until they take his channel and they come back and take your channel and take someone else's channel and take someone else's channel, because that's what you're saying. Just what you're giving them permission to do is take your channel like that. Poof, gone. You have no say in the matter. FCC, shut up. We own you. You're gone. Argue it in court. That's the fact. That's what's going to happen. Mystery gift, 650 jewels. Is these jewels good? First I've ever seen jewels in my life. I don't understand. I'm happy. I'll get jewels. 650 jewels. Yeah. They don't care about the First Amendment. They really don't. Connie's coverage. He has published more than 550 blog posts in his Canton Cover-Up series, along with thousands of tweets and hundreds of live streams. Spawned a free Karen Reed movement that spread across Massachusetts and beyond. All right, we can't continue on. We got to stop right here, bitch. This we took this around the fucking world. Think about that. All of us, everybody here, we took this thing around the planet Earth. If there was somebody on the moon, they would have saw it. I promise you. This thing went around the planet, guys. Almost every country in the world was out there. They donated. So if you're going to be fair, be fair. Don't just say Massachusetts and beyond. That's not fair. I'm going around the fucking world, girl. Here you go. Fueled by quasi-religious fever. Yeah. Because guess what? All these people here worked for it. They deserve credit. And you're not going to discredit them because these are good people. They all shared these streams. They all sent it around the world. Everybody did. You don't understand what it takes to do that. Your shit ain't going around the world. I promise you that. But yeah, all of us did that because they're good people. The movement cast the witnesses as villains and public enemies, accusing them of framing an innocent woman to evade justice. Okay? I'm going to be the opposite of her. Okay? So we're going to say that she's a liberal. Going to say that. But what we don't have right now, we don't have a defendant in any way for John O'Keefe. Who? Who are they looking at now? Tell me they're continuing the investigation? Yeah? You're still looking for John O'Keefe's kill. You're this close, right? It's just nope. And of course they're gonna say blame Karen. Of course they are. Their job depends on it. All right, let's keep going. But yeah. None of the witnesses were ever charged with a crime. But the rage unleashed against them irrevocably altered their lives. Ever since that first post, and even today, McCabe says she receives frequent phone calls, voices on the line calling her evil bitch, and worse, in Facebook messages accusing her of being a murderer. People drive by her house, take pictures, and send them to her to let her know they are watching. One time, someone edited a photograph of McCabe's daughter and added the caption, property of Turtle Boy, as well as digitally generated semen on her face and leg and sent it to her. McCabe's email and bank accounts have been hacked. People wore t-shirts and hoodies with her picture, which at one point were the hottest selling items in Turtle Boy's website merch store. Similar harassment also played out for other witnesses, like Sarah Bagel, maybe. There's a whole bunch wrong with that paragraph there. Whole bunch wrong. Now, I don't believe Jen McCabe. How can I put this so it comes out right? All right. I don't think Jen McCabe's lying about this, okay? I'm pretty sure that there's people out there that would maybe send her an email or drive by and yell and scream and yell at her or whatever. But it's funny how they're complaining about a photograph that was edited to depict something nasty. Well, guess what? So did I. There's a common denominator here. If anybody can get that picture that she talks about or references, the one that she says was made here, if anyone has it, I need to see it. I need to see if the Photoshop is done the same way as the one that was done with my photo. because then we'll know who did it. But that's a whole nother thing. Um, the new printers, you don't know this, but um, I don't know if you guys know this. Hold on. See, I can pull it up here for you guys. Um, I'm looking for it here. Um, let's see. Digital fingerprints. I can't show you that. Oh, we'll get to that later. Back to this right here. What few people know, though, is that the harassment of witnesses and anyone who dared to question Reed's defense, including this reporter, who has covered this case since its early days, was in fact orchestrated by Reed herself and, at times, coordinated with her defense team, according to now public text exchange between Reed and Connie, often through an intermediary. Reed dictated to Connie exactly what he should write and how. Her attorneys leaked confidential information to him, and together they orchestrated the harassment of the witnesses. All the while, Reed's camp publicly denied any contact with Connie. Even the line, "Did you think you could outsmart Karen Reed?" that Connie spat as McCabe, she shrank her into herself at that lacrosse game, has been dictated by Reed. So they're saying that Karen said those words to Jen McCabe, told Aiden to say them words to Jen McCabe. Is that what they're saying? That's a stretch. If you guys know Aiden, I if he was talking to Karen Reed or his or her or anyone's attorneys, that's between him and whoever he spoke with, first off. Second, they're allowed to do that, aren't they? And third, I don't think Aiden would do what Karen told him to do like that. Aiden's too much of his own person. Does that make sense? I just can't I just can't see that. But this some of this stuff isn't right there, girl. I don't believe Karen orchestrated this whole thing. No way. No way, no how. No. She she was too deep within her case to be playing online with you know, no. And if one of my mods changes their name to Karen Reed and came in my chat and I said, "Hey, that's Karen right there," I'd be famous, right? Because that's my claim to fame. That she went into someone's chat room once. Is that what? Is that what it's about? All right. Equally troubling. My back. It seems that Reed's legal team brought their case to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Massachusetts. A federal inquiry into the handling of the police investigation into O'Keefe's death followed. The federal investigation, which departed from standard investigative practices in ways that legal experts have questioned, resulted in Reed's defense team gaining access to evidence they may not have otherwise obtained, including lead detective Michael Proctor's personal text messages. Let's just see if this opens up in a link. Globe. Can't see it. Yeah. No. All right. Yeah. I'm not sure about that. Now, this is the first time I see the word federal investigation. Can we talk about this for a second? The federal investigation, and this is fact, was going on for a long time. If I said 10 years, it would probably be 10. For them to get a tap on a DA's phone, right? That's what got me thrown in the air. Cuz you don't tap a district attorney's phone number, but they did. Now, the FBI was in town before Sandra Birchmore got murdered because they were in town because of all the video evidence that was presented to them in regards to Justin Root. And here's how it ties back, guys and girls. They screw up badly. They make so many mistakes. They see each other, the guns are out. The cop fired a round, fired a bullet. Pow. Missed him, but it hit the sidewalk and ricocheted up. Hit the guy in the head, knocked him out. Parking garage attendant, way down the range, down the other end. Parking attendant knocked out. Guy with a gun, guy shooting. One person down. He took off on foot driving. Chase him. They chase this kid. They chase him down. His fucking car gets wrecked. He stumbles out of his car onto a mound of mulch. And they surround him. And they fucking unload on him. All of them. They just start shooting. And the poor kid's laying there. Now, there's a good Samaritan in the parking lot and sees the accident that happened because it happened at the lights. So she was watching the whole thing for whatever reason. And she sees him coming up and stumbles onto the ground because he was hurt from being shot in the car accident. He collapsed on the mulch, and here they come. They surround him. Pow, 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 pow. It wasn't a good shoot. It was bad. It's not a good shoot. But guess who investigated it? Because it was Boston PD and because it was Mass State Police within the Boston Police Department sphere, kind of like how they take care of Logan, they do Mass General area too. The cop had someone else's gun. He had his partner's gun on his waist when he shot. Everything was just so fucked up badly. But Yuri Buchanan determined it was a good shoot. So now Norfolk County DA determined that Boston and the Mass State Police unit in Boston that were involved in the chase, in the shoot, yeah, they didn't do anything wrong. Yuri said they were good. The FBI was in town because of that. It wasn't a good shoot. It was bad. They know it was bad. And then Sandra Birchmore dies. And then John O'Keefe dies a year to the day from Sandra Birchmore. And then Enrique Delgado Garcia dies. If you guys think the feds are gone, let me tell you, they live for this shit. This is what they do. There are so many people involved. There's so many investigations going on. Every cop, like Proctor will say, he's got 10 people against him right now, diving deep into that boy's life. Not where you want to be on the receiving end of that. All right. The federal investigation ultimately went nowhere, but its mere existence lent legacy. It did not go anywhere. Whenever the feds find a piece of information, it resets the clock. So if they did an interview today of, say, Brian Albert, the clock gets reset. They have 2 years to find another piece of information, and then they get 2 years on top of that, and they find another piece of information, and they get 2 years on top of that. It's 2 years after the last piece of evidence is when it can be closed. Not saying it goes, but it has the ability to be closed after that's met. You guys get that? Hey, Crystal. All right. Uh, but its mere existence lent legitimacy to Connie's accusations, gave public much of the impression that the witnesses might be perpetrators of the crime, and quite possibly affected the outcome of the trial itself. Meanwhile, instead of protecting witnesses to a crime, the feds left them hanging out to dry as harassment, fueled by public knowledge of the federal investigation itself, continued to upend their lives. Jeez. I don't know about you, but I've never had a federal investigation be part of my life ever. How about you? Have you? Is this normal? I I want to go there, but I can't get there. I see it. Yes. I can't. I can't. I can't. Yes, but I can't. You got to help me. CPUTOM@gmail. Figure it out, because there's something going on there. It's so hard to put it into words. I can't. It's just something's off. No, you're right. I wasn't falsely accused of murder. That's correct. You're absolutely. I give you that. You're absolutely correct. You're right. I wasn't. They just took my money instead. But that's okay. All right. Now, a little over a year after Reed was acquitted of killing O'Keefe, the witnesses, who continued to suffer harassment, are taking matters into their own hands. They have secured legal representation from famed Sandy Hook lawyer Chris Maddy. He's gay, right? Who took down Alex Jones and won the largest defamation verdict in U.S. history, and are suing Reed and Connie for defamation. I love John, and I loved his niece, Kaylee, who called me at 4:53 that morning, McCabe says today. All I did was answer a call and try to help, and for that, my life has been destroyed. Well, no, Jen. No. If she fights it, it's going to be an issue, or she's going to be a scene. No. You tried to set her up. That's it. She was the outside. Do you realize Proctor wasn't supposed to work that day? I keep telling you guys, this was not his body to work. That may be one of the reasons why he's not employed anymore. You know? All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I I gotta pull something up, guys, for you guys. Just real quick so I can throw this. Um where did it go? Hold on, I gotta get it. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? This is good news. Not good, but I'll tell you in a second. Uh-huh. This is good. There we go. All right, let me share this for you guys. Stop this. Share this. Thank you, Kelly, by the way. Judge Mark Dubé has denied both Aiden's, Connie's, and Karen Reed's anti-slap motions in the McAlpin civil lawsuit. The court concluded that at this stage of the case, the defendants do not meet the threshold required for protection under the Massachusetts anti-slap statute. According to the decision, the plaintiff's allegations extend beyond protected petitioning activity and instead include claims of defamation, intentional and neglect infliction of emotional distress, civil conspiracy, aid and abetting, alleged harassment campaigns, and related conduct. The judge wrote that many of the alleged statements cited in the complaint were directed to live stream audiences, blogs, social media, private residences, and public events, not to government bodies or proceedings. Huh. The court found those allegations, if proven, are not automatically protected as petitioning activity under the anti-slap law. For Karen Reed, the court also pointed to allegations involving statements made to documentary filmmakers and claims that she shared information with Connie. Finding those allegations likewise were not shown to fall within the anti-slap protection at this primary stage. What the frig? Why can't she talk to whoever the frig she wants to talk to? I don't understand. Important. This is not a ruling on whether the plaintiff's allegations are true or whether the defendant is liable. The judge did not decide the merits of the defamation claims. This ruling simply means the court found the defendants were not entitled to have the lawsuit dismissed early under the anti-slap statute, so the civil case will continue. The fight's far from over. Discovery, depositions, and future motions remain ahead before any determination on the underlying claims is made. Buckle up. And there you go. So, interesting. Very interesting. Well, Aiden said it too last night, didn't he? That we knew that was going to happen. But they're trying to, what Aiden says to her, what she says to him, or what Karen says to me, that's protected. I'm not giving that up. I don't. It's funny with the lawsuit with the state police, right? They wanted all the correspondence between me and Aiden. Well, your first answer is no. You're not entitled to it. He's a journalist. I'm a journalist in a way. The court sees me as a content creator. I guess I'm somebody. So by being me, I give him information. It's no one's business, especially yours. So no, you're not getting any information from him about him. No, because Aiden Carney has nothing to do with your trooper throwing me across the street. What's he got to do with that? They're out of their minds. All right, back to this one. See how they're just pushing? They're pushing to take what they can from us. All I did was try and answer a call for help, and that's it. My life has been destroyed, she says. She forgot about the 222 phone call, 227 phone call. How long to die in the cold? Where John O'Keefe happened to be dying in the cold. I wish I could just open my head and just let you guys see what I know without saying it. John was not hit by a car in any way. Um, mm, Roger that. All right, let's keep going. It was 2:07 a.m. on April 18th, 2023, when Canny sent a message from his home in Holden. He had been typing feverishly, working on his initial blog post about the murder of John O'Keefe. Now he attached it to a message for the intermediary between him and Reed. Read it over. That was that. Let's talk about this paragraph. That was Natalie, who was the intermediary between them, and she was just cutting and pasting. That's all she was doing between them two. So we'll give that one up, that they were communicating. We'll give that. You get that one. Change exonerating to exonerate the end of the first paragraph. Reed responded to the intermediary at 2:09 a.m. According to an extraction of Candy's cell phone, which was obtained by prosecutors as a result of witness intimidation charges against Candy and later became public by Connie's now former girlfriend. He has a niece and nephew. Okay, so what? What's that got to do with the T and Child? I don't understand. Okay, so they texted back and forth. That paragraph, they communicated. Okay. And you got the communication via his now former girlfriend, right? Right. So we're giving that up too, right? We're going to give that up. Ex girlfriend's the one that took it. Okay. 2:14 a.m. Reed sent another note through the intermediary. Carrie Roberts repeated the same story as Jen. She kept sending edits until 3:06 when she was satisfied. Amazed ball sauce, she wrote, according to phone extraction. Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll give this to them. We'll say that this happened. All right, we have no reason to believe it didn't. Karen Reed was okay, obviously happy because Aiden's got a way with writing. I mean, he has talent there. He's got something. So Karen obviously saw it and was obviously happy with what he wrote. Blog post number 1. And here we are. And we're not here. We're not all together if that didn't take place. That whole conversation right there. Think about that. That's messed up. All right. Hope they like it, Connie wrote through its intermediary. a former college acquaintance of Reed's named Natalie Weeke. I think that's her name. Weekle? They love it. Incredible, Weekle replied. The week prior, I'm going to say Natalie. The week prior, Natalie had been introduced to Aiden over Facebook by one of his followers. The two began texting, and after getting Reed's approval, Natalie started receiving information from Karen and passing it to Aiden. According to Natalie, the messages from Aiden's phone extraction. Okay. Okay. There was other information Reed wanted to make sure Connie had. So there's nothing wrong with that. That's good. She started sending me pictures of Jen McCabe, Collins' battered knuckles, which he did have, all the different Alberts to find out who's who. Natalie, who now regrets her support of Karen, told me that included a photo from Karen, which Aiden published, supposedly showing state police lead investigator Michael Proctor with McCabe's daughters. In fact, they were not McCabe's daughters. We proved that over and over and over and over and over again. Man, you fucking slow or something, lady? How can you say that? Those are Jen McCabe's kids. Two of the three are. Wow. Wow. How can he how can she say that? That's bullshit. That's getting sent. Wow. Connie was an unlikely person to take on this role. Less than 2 weeks after O'Keefe's death, the prior year, he addressed the case on a YouTube live stream. Real quick, let's pop this open. Uh, Real quick, we're going back in time, people. We're going back in time. Shoo. Boom. How about that? This is Aiden when it first came out. Okay. I think this is where that whole thing drops. So we're gonna find out what this was meant, what she meant to say in it.
The thoughts with the Boston police officer that was hit by his girl. Okay, so that I was gonna blog about that last week. So that's a great question. A John O'Keefe last week or last 2 weekends ago was killed outside during a snowstorm. During that snowstorm we had, they found him in I think right outside the front lawn of their friend's house in Canton. So they went out, him and his girlfriend named Karen Reed. She's like this, you know, she probably wears a pantsuit. She looks like she's educated and has a good job and shit. She's now charged with manslaughter because they.
All right, think about this, guys. He didn't know her. He only knew of her, and he already had her pegged. Karen, Aiden. When I'm talking like, he already knew.
They went out that night, and they went to some bar, and they were seen drunk, and then she dropped him off at this house in Canton at a friend's house, and she went, I assume, back to his house because I think he lived in Canton.
Yep.
And she lived in like Mansfield.
Yes.
Which I don't think is that close to Canton. So
30-40 minute ride.
The plan, I guess, he was supposed to come home. I don't know if she was going back to pick him up or what, but
yeah,
she drops him off.
No way to get. There was no
and
plan.
then she does a 3-point turn and drives away.
Proved that wrong.
He's later found on the freaking like at 4:00 in the morning.
Okay, so we know that's there. We know that happened. All right. So bang. All right. Wish I could make this bigger so I could read it on that screen. That help? Um, no, still no. Okay. All right. Connie was an unlikely person to take on this role. Less than 2 weeks after John O'Keefe's death the prior year, he addressed the case on a YouTube live stream. No doubt she killed him because obviously the taillight was out. But who the fuck intentionally kills someone by backing into them? He told his fans. He speculated that Reed was drunk and had driven into her boyfriend by accident. Okay. That, however, was before Reed and her lawyers started giving him access to information about the case to report for them, which could make him a star, an award winning journalist, even. Please tell TB he will get all the credit from my camp when this blows up. And when I talk to Dateline next, Reed wrote to Connie via Natalie. Communicating through text in Signal, an encrypted messaging app, and eventually by phone, Reed would go on to use Aiden to disseminate the alternative theory she had hoped would upend the case against her and keep it from ever reaching trial. Karen did not respond for requests for comments. Aiden called himself an investigative reporter, but his first blog was based entirely on court documents from the defense, including a motion and a 92-page affidavit filed 5 days earlier on April 12th. In it, Reed and her celebrity attorney from Los Angeles, Alan Jackson, argued that Brian Albert and his nephew, Colin Albert, were responsible for O'Keefe's death, and Jennifer McCabe helped cover it up along with the investigators. It's all true. Jen McCabe's name, think about this. Her name is in every single thing. She went to the ambulance people. She went to the police department people. She went to the FBI people or the state police people. She went to them. Jen. She went directly to the EMTs. Oh, he's over there. And she couldn't look at John. She went to the cops a couple times. She kept feeding them information. And then the third time with Proctor. The taillight got broken when she backed into John O'Keefe's car in the driveway. I measured the height of the wiper blade because it has a wiper in the window. The wiper armature, the corner, she backed into that, and it was so cold it shattered the light when she backed into it. That's why John's car needed to be fixed. That's why the very next day, Jen, I hope the people that prove this story watch this and listen to what I'm going to say. The very next day after John's in the hospital, still in the hospital, they just dropped him off. 6:30 in the morning. 8:30 in the morning. Jen's over John's house. Who else would be over John's house the very next day after he passed? Somebody he knew? Nope. Somebody he paid? Absolutely not. Who would be over John's house the very next day? In the kitchen, drinking fucking coffee. Officer Brian Wanless. Same guy that took the light out and bailed. He touched the fucking murder weapon. Never wrote a report about it. Never did a thing about it, but he touched the murder weapon. It did write a report. And then he's at John's house the next morning to take the car to go get fixed. And that's when they found the bigger piece of plastic. There's no need to have Wanless over John's house unless he's there to fix a car because he owns an auto body repair shop in Canton. You guys know that, right? Wanless owns an auto body shop. Wanless fixes new cars. He fixes new cruisers. He fixes new minivans. He fixed John's car. Gretchen, you didn't report that girl. All right, what's up with Tweety? Tweety, if it really was the murder weapon, nobody would be touching it. Nobody. But Wanless came in. They called him in, who wasn't working, wasn't scheduled to work. He was sleeping. They called him in to take the light out of the car because they didn't know how to do it. This comes from the back into the light bulb. They called him in to do that. He did that. So, supposedly, the Lexus hit John, which means the tail light is part of the murder, right? The murder weapon. And he came and started touching it. Is that okay? Because I thought you're not supposed to do things like that. By the way, he never wrote a report. Not one piece of paper has his name on it. Tweety, you just can't say that. The facts don't prove that. I'm trying to explain it to you. Hey, Tweety. I can't do it. Brian Albert on the stand. He was talking to everybody on the phone, right? And then Higgins. I know for a fact that he was on the phone at a certain time. 100% fact. Verified, backed up. Alan Jackson ran the lead down, backed it up too. 100% happened. He didn't show you that out of his chat. He took that out of his chat log. But he made a phone call at 7:30. On the stand, he said he didn't. So, Tweety, why would he lie? Why would Higgins lie about a simple phone call? I don't get. Why would he lie? I don't know. Whatever. All right. Where are we? All right. From the first post and the hundreds more that would follow, putting the blame on witnesses became a reoccurring feature of Canny's coverage as Reed continued to direct it. See, that's not true. That whole paragraph acts it. It ain't true. She's got nothing to back up that allegation. What does she have? What does she have to prove that that's true? Anybody out there? Anybody? What facts are there that prove that true? She doesn't have any. The morning the first blog hit, it jolted the tight-knit Cannon community, rippling through group chats in youth sports sidelines. The witnesses' phones started blowing up, their DMs filling with questions and accusations. In the face of the online harassment, the witnesses rushed to shut down their social media accounts. Reed appeared pleased with the fallout. They're all folding, she texted Canny through Natalie. So, there's a lot here. They rushed to shut down their social media accounts. Did anybody run to shut their accounts down today? Anybody? I didn't. Even when I'm being called a simp for the same thing that is allowing him to say what he says. Yeah, I'm a simp for the First Amendment, dude. All right. Tight knit community, huh? Canton? They're tight, all right. So tight that the freaking police department can walk next door and steal steak tips. As many as they want. Right, guys? Steak tips for everybody. Everyone's getting steak tonight. Canton police just walk into this guy's restaurant and takes fucking steak tips. Pounds and pounds and pounds of steak tips. Cops do nothing about it because everyone's getting free steak tips. All right. A few days later, on April 22nd, Aiden, using the Canton Police Department's incident report, which the defense had recently filed unredacted against court rules with the witness's personal information, called McCabe and Brian Albert while live streaming and accused them of covering up O'Keefe's murder. He claimed McCabe was sleeping with Albert, her sister's husband. Then he showed images of that unredacted report on the live stream. His thousands of viewers now had the witnesses' private phone numbers, address, and social security numbers. I remember that. And I don't think it showed social security numbers. I don't think it showed social security numbers on that. I remember that was a whole mess. So she's wrong here. She's absolutely wrong. She's making it seem like no, no. After Aiden's stream, Karen's local attorney, David Giannetti, texted to congratulate him. That was priceless. Great. Great fucking show. Really enjoying the turtle reporting, he wrote, adding that Aiden mispronounced his name, but I loved how you followed it up by that. Proves that I'm not talking to them, according to Aiden's phone extraction. So his own phone extraction proved he wasn't in talks with them. So how? How? Let me tell you something about David Yannetti. Just being in the same room as him, I would say that he oh, what am I thinking? He he's very intimidating, but in a good way. He's very I want to say analytical, because when I was talking to him, he was sitting there and you could just see the numbers and gears and stuff all ranching in his head, going like he's that smart, and he doesn't let it show. But yeah, David Yannetti is just an amazing human being, an amazing human being. Mhm. The next day, Natalie sent Aiden a message from Karen, who wanted him to write more about the secret federal probe, not public. The feds have been involved longer than anyone is likely guessing, Reed told him. That's interesting, isn't it, people? A week later, Natalie relayed confidential federal grand jury information that Karen should not have known about. The first assistant U.S. attorney, they don't shoot and miss. They have a case and way more evidence than we do. I know this for a fact. Jen McCabe testifies this coming week. I'm not sure about the others. This is not going to trial for me. It did. That's the problem. It did. Donna Rash, thank you so much, girl. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you, Donna. All right. Where are we here, people? We good? All right. La la la. The following week, May 3rd, at the first pretrial court appearance following Aiden's inaugural blog, it appeared clear that the effort to seed the alternative theory through Aiden's coverage was working. For the first time, a crowd of protesters gathered outside the courthouse, and a few dozen TV cameras and reporters were there to capture it all. They were all clapping, Jackson told Boston in 2023. And then, as we walked in, the door shut and they started applauding. And we realized, okay, things have just shifted. Okay. That's, I would give that a true, overall true, that paragraph. You can concede that one. Inside the courthouse, the next step in the campaign was about to unfold. 2 weeks earlier, on April 20th, just days after publishing his first post, Aiden had spoken with Karen's defense team, who confirmed to him the federal investigation was underway. According to Aiden's phone extraction and admissions, Aiden later made on his YouTube live stream, where he acknowledged that Reed's team had been his source. That same day, after the call, Aiden posted a blog detailing the federal probe. In it, Aiden wrote, according to reliable sources close to the federal matter, a grand jury has subpoenaed multiple witnesses who were in the home of Boston police officer Brian Albert on the night fellow BPD officer John O'Keefe was killed. The FBI has taken over the investigation and they have visited the homes of multiple witnesses. He confirmed with 100% certainty that Jen McCabe received a subpoena, even though federal grand jury information is supposed to be strictly confidential. At the time, Aiden publicly denied, including to me, while reporting my story in the subsequent months, that he had any contact with Reed or her team. On a later live stream, he acknowledged that he had lied to me at Reed's request. Okay, so that's what it's called being a reporter. Okay, that's what you do. You don't think I've had conversations with people and it said, nope, it was somebody else? You have to do that. It's not. When someone gives you a piece of information, you absolutely have to just take that person's name and just shuffle it and throw it away. Like, how that information traveled, I don't think is a problem with it. She's up for murder. She didn't do. She's got a guy that's going to help her. Who wouldn't? If you're in that position facing murder charge for something that you didn't do and this guy's going to help you, are you going to say no? Legit. Who's going to say no? Anybody? I mean, really, right? And Holly, that's cool. And disagreeing is the best thing in the world. That's your right to do that. It's awesome. And I support you having the choice to do that, to have that choice. I support you. That's all. Simple as that. And First Amendment allows you to sit there and say whatever you want. And I'm okay with that because that's what it's about. The First Amendment. Right? Love it. All right. So this one here, I'd give this, and I got to give it to Aiden. He actually did good with not giving up, Karen. That's what you're supposed to do as a reporter. So I don't see a problem with what he did, but that's called protecting a source. Which, speaking of, who's your source for some of this information? Let's talk about sources. Who have you quoted so far in here, right? Sources? We're going to talk about sources? Yeah, we'll talk about sources, all right. May 3rd, the defense team's leak came full circle. It's been reported that federal authorities have now gotten involved in the circumstances surrounding this case and have impaneled a federal grand jury to investigate some of these circumstances, Jackson announced to the court. Then, raising his voice for dramatic effect, he added, Karen Reed should not have to wait for the feds to figure out which heads should roll. Jackson was able to speak about the federal involvement and the grand jury in open court and have it entered into the public record. Because it had already been reported by Turtle Boy in a later court filing opposing a proposed gag order, Yannetti argued that Jackson had merely been reiterating what had been already been publicly reported, not, he said, revealing anything about the grand jury being impaneled, something about which the defense team would have no knowledge. What Yannetti did is add is that it had been reported because his team leaked it to Aiden. Jackson and Yannetti did not respond for requests for comment. Huh. All right, we'll give that one a medium. No one wins that one. That's just. But the defense team's role in the federal investigation went back further than merely leaking it to the press. So I have a question for Colin. I have a really good question for this kid. Colin, did you ever go up to the John's doorbell in the back of the house? The doorbell that faces the deck where you had a bunch of people allegedly drinking in his yard when he was in Aruba? Did you go up and hit that ring button and bother him when he was in Aruba? And you knew he didn't want you in his yard. So you had a party in his backyard when he went to Aruba? Is that what happened, Colin? Did you ring that ring doorbell? Is that why the ring footage was so important? Because you were ringing that doorbell when he was in friggin' vacation. You and your boys were drinking on the deck, right? Remember that? Throwing the empties in the yard. He wasn't there. He didn't want you in his yard. He didn't want you in his backyard, but you were there with your boys drinking, right? Remember that? Did you ring the doorbell when he was on vacation all night? Did you ruin his night by keep ringing the ring doorbell, huh? All night, ding, 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 ding. You wouldn't do that, right, Colin? Yeah, I know he wouldn't do that. He would not do that. But let's get to this. Did you kill John O'Keefe? Colin Albert says Adam Deitch, an assistant U.S. attorney, yelled at him. Whoa! Spicy. No, he replied, shocked. Tell us the truth. It was a suffocatingly hot day in late July 2023 when Colin was called to testify before the federal grand jury at the Moakley courthouse. Colin recalls 19-year-olds and recently finished with his freshman year at Bridgewater State where he played football. He says he didn't understand why he was even there. He had no idea. Really? He had no idea, dude. No idea why you're there. Craziness. Hey, listen, everybody. Need 2 minutes. Need to refill my coffee. And I need, so I just need 2 minutes, all right? Let me Oh, let me get you a good video. Oh yeah. Think we're gonna go old school with, and you know what else too? I think I said it. People are just mad that they weren't at any of Karen's stuff. Like they never showed up for any of it because they were afraid. They were afraid. Um, I got stuff that I have blocked off. Drag racing. Not gonna do that. Oh, I'm gonna do a car show. Send you guys to Florida for a car show for a minute. Um, it's a 5-minute car show. Massive money in cars. So this is just for a break. Move my legs. So I'm coming back to this, and we're doing this.
Oh, Bussy!
Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, I should
Look at that.
maybe turn my volume down.
Oh my god, the stings are coming out.
Yeah, like the green. That's sharp, huh?
Oh.
All right, I'll be right back, guys.
Cobra. There we go.
On top. Oh yeah.
Love it. Love it. Beautiful. Look at this.
That is unique.
What is
Oh, oh it's got the chicken flesh.
Candy.
Oh my god. I didn't even see that.
Grab a candy box for Kevin.
Oh, look at that. Nice.
Nice.
Oh, look at this. The wheels.
Get that. Candy fell right on the ground.
Oh.
Right, that's a bet, right?
Oh, that's a nice shot.
That's a Lotus.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Camaro.
Gotta love the Camaro. Oh, look at what's on the top.
Sunroof. That's
He
nice.
said the Audis are coming out tomorrow. Little beater.
That is nice, huh?
That's got my driver. Oh, that is mean.
This is called the tea bucket.
Oh my god. That thing's huge.
It don't weigh nothing. Chrysler.
Love that smell. That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
These are all production cars you can go and buy. Frank's a unicorn. Someone's getting hungry. Yeah. Love it. Love it. That purple's nice. Just had some work done. Here you go. Here you go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Holy Ghost. Oh, Camaro.
Yep.
These guys getting hungry tonight. Nice bumblebee right there.
Yeah, nice.
Woman with muscle. Oh, that is so unique. Look at that.
Love it. Love it. Typical Chevy, squeaky
Oh,
brakes. Yep.
Look at that.
I'm looking.
Flame show.
Hey, Joe, yellow.
Look at the exhaust peeking out. Double exhaust pump. Oh, they do a loop.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the new Corvette. Wow.
Love it.
All right, I'm back. I'm back.
Love it.
A little out of control there. Sorry, guys. This Voss article, there's a lot that's not right with this article. A lot. Back to it. Collins' lawyer was not allowed inside the small square room where rows of jurors faced him. Not one, as is customary, but two federal attorneys questioned him. Two of them were Adam Deitch, an assistant U.S. attorney who is now running for Norfolk County DA, and Josh Levy, who is the acting U.S. attorney for the District of Massachusetts, a role that doesn't typically question witnesses. Dustin Chow, another assistant U.S. attorney, was also present. I know that name, Chow, from around here. Besides Colin's shoulder, Aiden's tweets and blogs were projected onto a screen, Colin says. Every single thing came from him. They didn't use anything else. Nothing else, Colin tells me. Noting that they didn't even bother to take Aiden's name off the screenshots. Eventually, they accused me of every single thing, Aiden said. They also projected, Colin says, the same pictures Aiden had published on his blog. Colin playing football, Colin at a wedding when he was a younger boy, Colin's bloody knuckles. Those pictures, according to Aiden's phone extraction, had originated with Reed, who had found them while trolling Facebook late at night and sent them to Aiden through an intermediary to print online. According to Colin, the material federal prosecutors put before the grand jury had, in significant part, originated with Aiden. What he didn't know at the time was that Aiden had received it from Reed. Okay. So let me see if I got this straight, guys. Karen's home on the internet doing research for her case, right? And she finds these pictures. Gretchen, why would you not use those pictures if you think these people did it? Here's pictures to back it up. We're going to get to Farwell here. Yeah. We're going to get there. I promise you, because this is all involved. It's a full circle here. That's right. She was a witness. She may have worked somewhere, massage parlor, where these police officers would come in and out. Small little town, quiet. That would never happen in Canton, right? The whole massage parlor thing, that would never happen, right? No, it wouldn't. It couldn't. Wouldn't. That one we're gonna say that's a false paragraph, Gretchen. That's you did bad there. Not good. Not good. You scored real low on truth factor. After hours of confrontational, combative questioning, Colin asked for a break. Went back into the small room where his lawyer waited and broke down. Started crying. When it's all over, he broke down again in his father's car. I couldn't stop shaking. I couldn't even speak, Colin says. I was like, what the fuck did they do to me in there? Huh. Really? Kind of sounds like the DAs were a little aggressive with little Colin there, right? He gonna have a fun time in the in the military. Good old Marines, Semper Fi, live or die. Oh, good luck with that one. All right. Here's the problem, guys. This is the problem. You guys gotta listen real good here. How exactly Karen's defense team got the ear of the U.S. Attorney's Office before the federal investigation began remains unclear. That's not true. But otherwise, what's clearer is a series of documented connections, some direct, some circumstantial, between people around Karen's case and people around the federal office that took it up. Yannetti had a prior professional relationship with Rachel Rollins, the U.S. Attorney for Massachusetts, in the fall of 2022. When the federal probe began, he had been invited to serve on Rollins' transition team when she took office in 2019. According to multiple sources, including Morrissey, Rollins deeply disliked Morrissey, whom she had publicly accused of being misogynistic. I can't say that word. Misogynistic. Which we do. All right, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. That some of that's true. There, Rach. Not Rachel. What am I talking about? Rachel Rollins. Rachel Rollins. This started before 2019. Sandra Birchmore for years had threatened to go to the police. Threatened. I'm going to blow this up. Again, comes back to Justin Root. Norfolk DA covered for Boston PD. Boston owes them a favor. John went to the police department 53 times. To the chief. Sorry, not the chief. Brian Albert's brother. Went to him 53 times about the drug deal in front of his house. And we don't know anyone's specific names, but we do. Because they're on the ring footage that John has or had. We could turn it over to you guys. You guys could find out who was doing the drug dealing. Oh, you deleted the ring footages while you were there at Saturday morning, 8 early to delete everything. Right, guys? It's the only reason they were there. In a letter he wrote to the DOJ's Office of Professional Responsibility, after learning his witnesses were being subpoenaed to the federal grand jury, Morrissey formally raised what he called concerns about motive, conflict, or appearance of conflict and potential bias by the Office of the United States Attorney for Massachusetts. Why would Morrissey say that? Real quick, why would he say that? Morrissey wrote that Chow, the head of the U.S. Attorney's Public Corruption Unit, who was heading up the federal investigation, had asked a Massachusetts state police detective in 2018 if he had any kind of damaging information on the district attorney, first assistant, or the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. I confirmed this with the detective, who added that Chow had disparaged Morrissey in vulgar terms and told him, I would do a case against that guy if you know anything about him. The animosity Morrissey wrote in his letter stemmed from his office attempting to demote Chow's wife, Laura, from her position at the Norfolk County DA's office years earlier. She resigned instead of filed an ethics complaint, which was dismissed. Dismissed means it was settled out of court. Yeah, this paragraph, not sure it's good. So Morrissey went after the guy who was investigating Morrissey, but he went after the guy's wife. Morrissey's a nice guy, huh? Didn't he have a burner account? I'm just checking because he may have had a burner account. Remember that? I remember that. I remember that right there. Yeah. Didn't Caitlin say she was picking him up? And Life 360 says that she didn't. How's that working? What's up with that? Did Gretchen put that in there? Did you put in that she lied? How about when Jen McCabe was asked by the FBI, "Are you Jen McCabe?" Nope, not me. Got the wrong Jen McCabe. So here we see Morrissey attacking a woman, Laura. The animosity. What did she say that he was? Misogynistic? Isn't that the definition of misogynistic? What he's doing to this poor lady? Morrissey also pointed to Rollins, who resigned in the wake of an investigation by the DOJ's Office of the Inspector General that found, among other ethical violations, that she tried to create the public impression that the DOJ was investigating a political opponent of hers. Oh my goodness. Melissa, oh my God, thank you so much. Oh my God, you guys, I love you guys. You guys rock. I lost my mind here. I'm sorry. Tried to create the public impression that the DOJ was investigating a political opponent of hers. I believe that a reasonable person could conclude that the same type of tactics are being employed against the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office in the Karen Reed investigation, Morrissey wrote in an emailed response. Rollins says that the unsigned OIG report is an allegation, not a finding, and she disagrees with it. All right. That's a lot. Okay, next. The former assistant U.S. attorney told me that Aiden's blog was something federal prosecutors in the office would read. Most of the time, it was nothing, he said. But 10% of the time, there may be something there. Okay. The former assistant. So she's still talking to who? It's DA's wife, right? Morrissey, Rollins. She's not talking to Rachel Rollins. Rollins says, the former assistant U.S. attorney, it's got to be Rachel Rollins, told me that Aiden's blog was something federal prosecutors in the office would read. Most of the time, it was nothing, he said, but 10% of the time, there may be something there. He said. It was nothing he said. Oh, yeah. So nothing Aiden said, but there's nothing. The office had, in fact, brought a public corruption case that Aiden's blog had covered aggressively. Monica Cannon Grant. Oh, she's a good one. I remember her. A prominent activist whom Levy, Chow, and Deitch would indict and prosecute for, among other things, defrauding the city of Boston out of COVID relief funds. She bought a freaking house with it. Aiden denies ever having spoken to anyone in the U.S. Attorney's Office, as he should. It's no one's business. Public corruption cases are notoriously hard to bring, the former assistant U.S. attorney told me, especially in blue Massachusetts, where there aren't two political parties investigating one another. Prosecutors are desperate for and rely on tips, he says, and we take them from wherever they can be it the Boston Globe Spotlight team or Aiden Canny's or anonymous whistleblowers, even a murder defendant. For her part, Karen Reed claimed in her communications with Aiden and others to have a direct line to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Okay, so Karen knows people. That's what she's saying, right? She can cut a bitch. No doubt. She'd pick up the phone and make a phone call, right? That's what we're saying here. Because I'll give that one to her. That paragraph. Yeah, okay. So we got one agreement. We're good. Now, none of this fully explains how Reed's defense team got their case before the U.S. Attorney's Office. Mm-hmm. But why the office took it up may be less mysterious. The former assistant U.S. attorney told me that the opportunity to potentially expose a major cover up involving the state police, Canton PD, and the DA's office would have been, in his words, right in the wheelhouse of any U.S. attorney's office and career defining for whoever led it. That was Levy, then acting U.S. attorney after Rollins' forced resignation. Levy did not respond to requests for comment because Josh Levy's in the middle of writing up the whole entire arrest affidavit to go lock these people up. Yeah, there's a federal investigation going on, and when people get murdered and witnesses and what do you call them? Confidential informants, we'll call them. When they get bumped off, that's pretty bad. Yeah. However, it all went down in September 2022, according to a statement from Jackson in court. The feds subpoenaed the defense's entire case file. Morrissey says his office reached out to Levy multiple times, offering to share the state's evidence from their investigation. Levy turned them down because he already has it, right? He already has all the information. But the feds legally went after Karen and got their entire case file, probably to see what they know, see who's contacted them, see what tips they're getting, see which way they're going. Instead, Levy called the witnesses before a grand jury. When you have the leverage that the feds have, sometimes you want to put pressure on. You drag people into the grand jury. That kind of stirs the pot, gets people talking, says the former assistant U.S. attorney, adding that if he had caught wind of an alleged vast conspiracy, he too would have pulled a few strings to see where they led. So now, this is what Melanie and Grant were talking about it. It's called bumping. When you do something, you just kind of nudge them, you bump them, a little nudge, a little kick, a little shove, a little nudge in there, just to get you going, get you talking, to see who you call. So, for example, FBI, they're down the street with a surveillance van, and they already have Jen's phone already set up inside the van. So when their agents walk up on Jen, they know. They have eyes on them. And I'm sure they had a microphone going. And when they asked Jen, are you Jen McCabe? And she said no and lied to them. The guys in the van must have been laughing their ass off because they just don't show up. They're there a couple days before. I promise you, they're there a couple days before. You have no idea who they are, but they're looking at you. They're watching you. You know, cameras everywhere. Ugh. Where that led, Brian Albert believes. All right, so now we're talking to Brian Albert. All right, guys, we got to switch over. We're in Brian Albert land here, okay? Freaking awesome. That is dynamite. Real quick, guys, so you guys can see it. Let me share it for you so you see what it says. Boom. All right, David Yannetti. Hey, Linda Pizzuti, do you have any editors at these days at Boston Magazine, or have they all taken the summer off? While I will anxiously await the correction you must publish to the shoddy reporting of Gretchen Voss. Also, please tell John Henry that our beloved socks Could use a couple more bats at the trade deadline. Thanks. It's bad enough that you're getting the community noted, but getting community noted at Boston Offender Fact? Woof. That's brutal, Bossy. Just brutal. Nice, huh? We want to go. We want to go through this. Read the comments. Be the freaking ever. Let's finish this Gretchen Voss nightmare inside the campaign. Jesus, help us. Where that led, Brian Albert believes, was to the witnesses being treated as suspects. Albert, who was a sergeant, detective, and commander of the Boston Police Department's fugitive unit, which would be the unit looking for Whitey Bulger, but I regress, as he was a fugitive. Number one, who helped catch the Craigslist killer and who earned honors for bravery and valor. Decorated dude. He was also called to testify before the federal grand jury. It was very aggressive. I was not in there as a witness, he says. I was in there as a suspect. That was the first time that anybody of any importance was insinuating that. Wow, grand jury's got some balls. Imagine that. All right, we'll take that true. We'll take that as a true statement there. We can leave that whole paragraph alone. Leave that one alone. Just as with his nephew Colin, Brian says, the U.S. Attorney's Office appeared to take much of their information from Karen Reed's defense team via Aidan Canny's blogs and social media posts. Brian says he was tag teamed by 3 federal prosecutors, Levy, Deitch, and Chow. I do not rile easily, Brian says, and I was freaking distraught. His wife, Nicole, sister of Jen McCabe, and Jen McCabe's daughter, Allie, were also reduced to tears by the hostile questioning of their own testimonies. Think about that. Their own testimonies got torn apart by 3 of these federal prosecutors who had a field day with them in court. Imagine that. Wow. Good for them. While Karen was telling Aidan that she had a direct line to the feds, O'Keefe's family could not get a return phone call or email from the U.S. Attorney's Office. John's brother, Paul O'Keefe, reached out to Levy repeatedly and got nothing in response. Whoa. Do you guys know that? That's wow. Hello. Ouch. Though the O'Keefe family and the prosecution could not get any answers, Karen Reed continued to weaponize the Fed's involvement for Aidan Canny to disseminate. In early May 2023, for instance, she texted through the intermediary, Natalie, Josh Levy is the first assistant. There's only one assistant. He typically doesn't prosecute. Like, he never prosecutes. He just delegates to the assistants within the division. Example, Adam Deitch. But he's running this grand jury. And to substantiate the gravity of this particular federal probe, Levy is not a prosecuting attorney, but he's making an exception for this case. Huh. So Josh Levy, who's not a prosecutor, is taking the prosecution role in this case? Why this case? Why would he do that? Why? Why? Anybody? Anybody? That's insanity. Oh my. I think I have pictures of that thing they left in my car. I don't know if I do. I don't know if I do. It'd be here if it was anywhere. I have them on my backup. It'd be here real soon. Oh, we had a graduate party. I remember that. That was great. Yeah. It's in a backup. I know it's in a backup. I don't have it. All right. Back to the document. Huh. Okay. So the O'Keefe family tried to get some answers through the DA's office and whatnot, and about the federal grand jury, and they didn't say anything. So Morrissey, I'm thinking Morrissey tried to use John O'Keefe's family as a backdoor to get to the federal grand jury to find out what was going on. And they said, no, we're not telling you jack squat. How far off am I, guys? Do you think that happened? Do you think that they didn't tell the O'Keefes because they know the O'Keefes are in bed with the McCabe's? I mean, yeah. Meanwhile, the existence of the federal case only amplified the harassment of the witnesses and was used to legitimize it with disastrous effects. McCabe says she reached out to the U.S. Attorney's Office multiple times, telling them that one of her daughters had begun self harming and had spent 3 months in a partial mental health program. She got no response. So now her kid, it's Aiden's fault, right? Because what's fucked up is I went through something like this, and it wasn't me. It wasn't my ex-wife. It's something that kids go through. I don't understand why they cut themselves. I don't know why girls or guys do that, why they hurt themselves. I can't get my head around it, but whatever I can do to fix that and keep that from happening, yeah, I'm all in with that. So for her to take that to me, it's something serious. When your daughter starts cutting herself, you kind of get your eyes open a little bit, like what the frig. But she's gonna bring that up and try and put that on Aiden or put that on this federal probe. Like, what does her kid having a problem? Why is that even in this story? Is my question. Why are you highlighting her daughter's problem? Why is that there? Why are you talking about this, Gretchen? Are you trying to insinuate that it's because of people saying stuff? I hope not, because that's a road you don't want to go down. This, too, is unusual, according to a retired FBI agent from the Massachusetts field office who worked on public corruption cases. We went after people that were bothering our witnesses all the time. The former agent says it's standard operating procedure, and when they could have done the same to Aiden and his followers. But they didn't. We go out and tell to them, look, if you do it again, we're going to arrest you. Leave our witnesses alone. Uh, we didn't do anything like that. Protecting witnesses so they can come forward to testify is critically important to the integrity of the justice system. Yeah. Meanwhile, the worst harassment was only beginning, and look whose picture's on the screen. Are you telling me that this lady don't harass anybody? She's not a harasser herself? This lady right here? She doesn't harass Karen? She doesn't harass nobody, right? This one? Where's her crown? Where's her halo? Is it crooked? Mm-mm. This is just a hip piece. That's all this is. Hey, 227, Jen McCabe, how long to die in the cold? And guess what? Colin was in the house. Let's get back to the article. On July 22nd, 2023, McCabe, her husband, and two of her four daughters huddled inside their Canton home as Aiden stood outside, screaming into a bullhorn at a crowd of more than 100 followers. I want all Jen McCabe's neighbors to know, in case they didn't already know, that the people who live right here are cop killers. These are cop killers. Okay. I was there that day, and not once did Aiden scream into a bullhorn. He didn't have to scream. He was talking into the bullhorn because there was a lot of people there that day. They wanted to see the houses of the people that murdered John O'Keefe. So they were going around looking at them all. But they weren't screaming into the bullhorn. So, again, you need to retract that because that's not true. By the way, ask Jen McCabe where she was that day. She was up at Old Orchard Beach up in Maine. She wasn't even home. The second time that Aiden went there, she was home. But this time that she's talking, no. Nobody was home. Over the course of 2 hours, Aiden Canny, driving a brand new Lexus, had led a caravan of cars on what he called a rolling rally. Dozens of cars made their way through the streets of Canton, stopping at all the homes of 7 different witnesses to listen and cheer on as Aiden Canny as he blared accusations while live streaming for the rest of his followers. Okay. Again, all right. Canny's behavior at the rally had the backing of Karen Reed's attorneys, who had also filed a police report in court with the witnesses. Unredacted addresses. That evening after the rally, Yannetti messaged Aiden, "Thanks for your continued support," according to Aiden Canny's phone extraction. Okay. How do we know one wasn't related to the other? Do you know, like he could have, I need to thank Aiden. He thanked Aiden after the rally. Didn't necessarily mean the rally. It could have meant something else. They want to play that game. We'll play it too. Just get no correlation with the rally. It's just a message. That's all. But you know what you don't see in Aiden's phone extraction? You know what you don't see? Anybody? What don't we see in Aiden's phone extraction? Anybody? Let's see how good we are. What are we missing that is not in Aiden's phone extraction? But it's in Jen McCabe, Brian Alberts, Brian Higgins. What's not in Aiden's phone extraction at all? No butt dials. Where are they? Where are all the butt dials? No butt dials. Everyone else over in Canton got butt dials. Aiden doesn't have one. Odd. Very odd. At this point, Yannetti and Aiden were in regular communication, with Aiden sending tips to Yannetti, and Yannetti sending court documents and confidential information on top of the many phone calls between them. For instance, after McCabe went to Stoughton District Court for harassment prevention order against Aiden Canny, Yannetti texted Aiden on May 30th with news HPO denied. That night, Aiden blogged about it, ending his post with a kicker. The bad news for Jen is that we're just getting started. Buckle up, horse face. Okay. That's a good paragraph. We'll give you that one. Okay. So keep that paragraph. That one we're gonna mess with. By the beginning of May, Reed had dropped to the intermediary and she and Aiden started communicating directly over Signal, and many of their messages appear in Candy's phone extraction. They also communicated by phone 189 times, totaling more than 40 hours in 2023 alone. Are you ready for this, guys? You see that 189 times? Gretchen Voss, this is to you, girl, please. Gretchen, you have 189 times that they talked and communicated it by phone in 2023. So in that year, there's 12 months, right? There's both 365 days. So 189 divided by 365, that's your number. That's for the whole year, 189 times. Well, Gretchen, here's some more information that you need to include in this document. You need to include that Jennifer McCabe, in the 48 hours after the death of John O'Keefe, John died. And then 48 hours after that, Jen McCabe, you made 200 phone calls in one day. Within 24 hours, you made 200 phone calls. They made 189 in the whole year. You did 200 in 24 hours, girl. She was covering up her story, telling her story over and over and over again to anyone that would listen. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. 200 phone calls within 24 hours. I had some crazy ex-girlfriends I never called that many times in a day. 200. And they only communicated 189 in a year, one whole year, 365 days. Boy, Gretchen, you stretching stuff, girl, here. All the while, the witnesses were being targeted relentlessly. Yeah, sure, show me. The Free Karen Reed followers. Oh, the Free Karen the Free Karen readers followed and confronted them, showing up at Caitlin Albert's wedding in New Hampshire. That's not true. Posting pictures of the McCabe's on vacation in Aruba. That's true. Screaming at Brian Albert as he tried to eat lunch in a crowded mall food court. Not true. Not true. It was like secretly recorded, it seemed like. There was no yelling anywhere, lady. You're lying. Flat out lying. It got so bad that Colin Albert says he was forced to quit playing football and give up his lifelong dream of playing in college as a result of the harassment from Aiden and his followers. He's now enrolled in the U.S. Army. Okay? Army, Navy, Marines. All right. Girl, you need to add in the 200 times that Jen called within 24 hours after John's death. You need to add that in there. And the whole Colin thing? No. Colin's a badass. He's not going to quit. Ain't no one going to make that boy quit. You don't know who Colin is, do you, Gretchen? He's a badass. No one's going to fucking put this kid down. No one's going to keep him playing football. Kidding me? You telling me some turtle's going to keep him from playing in football? He's tough, bitch. You going to... No way, man. No way. He's playing football. He ain't quitting. He ain't quitting. Colin is not quitting. Not knowing what else to do on August 25th, for the first time in his 12 years in office, Morrissey released a nearly 6-minute video statement pushing back on the absolutely baseless claims of conspiracy, condemning the harassment of the witnesses, and disavowing the false narratives. The witnesses, he said, certainly did not commit murder or any crime that night. It didn't help. On September 5th, Aiden directed remarks in a YouTube live stream toward Chris Albert, the father of Colin Albert. I go down to your pizza shop and I stand out there for an hour and I yell shit about your son, Aiden said. I accuse him of some of the most heinous things possible and I affect business. People don't want to go into your business because of the things that I'm saying. A few days later, Yannetti messaged Aiden. These bastards deserve all the scorn we are giving them. Yannetti knew and approved of Aiden's public behavior. That's not a true statement, girl. So Karen's lawyer monitors everything Aiden does. And Aiden's got to get permission before he does anything from David Yannetti. The fuck out of here, girl. No. Absolutely no. Around the same time, according to a complaint filed later in the court by the witnesses, Karen and Aiden became administrators of the Facebook group Justice for Officer John O'Keefe and Karen Reed only, Turtle Boy official. The two had complete control over the group, including approving or denying posts. And the group played host to defamatory and harassing posts about the witnesses. According to the complaint, Karen also personally posted in the group multiple times. The fucking horror. Including sharing confidential information that hadn't yet been released to the public. So, the girl that's trying to save her life from like going to jail for murder can't give documents to nobody, and I can't like try and like help her defense. Yeah, I remember that. Yep. Man, you're good. You're good like that. That was with what's his name there? He's sitting in his car. You can get arrested for filming me, he says. Public courthouse, parking lot. The hell? Mello was in the pickup truck. Can't film me. Yeah, what a guy. All right. Meanwhile, Karen continued to direct Aiden's coverage of her case. Well, that's a bold statement, man. I'm not sure that ever happened. I'm calling bullshit on that one right away. No way. I don't see Karen directing Aiden's show. Aiden, no. It's not like that. She may think that, but she's wrong. On September 18th, Karen sent pictures of Brian Albert and his wife, Nicole, at their son's football game. Fucking cornered rap Brian Albert continues to fight us getting his fucking call log, she texted. According to Aiden's phone extraction, can you make a post just for this? Aiden complied. The Alberts are constantly living on edge and have to hide the cornered rats, he wrote in the post. She also directed Aiden to monitor multiple witnesses' homes. What we'd love is for someone to do surveillance on Wentworth tonight. She texted Aiden the following week in reference to investigator Michael Proctor's house. After asking him to run the plates of a car with a Massachusetts state police sticker on the back. According to Aiden's phone extraction, we really need surveillance set up. Please don't breathe a word of this, she texted, followed by a request to go to the home of witness Kerry Roberts. Get a pic of that Cow's Explorer, Karen texted. All right. The witnesses were not the only targets. In late September 2003, I wrote a story about the case that raised questions about Reed's account of what happened the night O'Keefe was killed. What kind of horrible excuse for a mother supports cop killers? Someone texted me after the story was published, sending a picture of my sons when they were young, taken from my Facebook page. You dragged them into this. Good job, Miss Voss. My local police department sent extra officers to my son's Friday night football game. I gotta say something about that. She's like that note my freaking frontal bum there, that girl. She's a piece of work, that one. She's another one that can't read between the lines here. She can read something that says Karen gave Aiden a document. Oh, that's that. Oh, no, it's way off base. Just say Karen gave Aiden a document, and she's all 9 levels off. She's messed up, that one. She got problems, that girl. The day my story went live, Reed texted Aiden on Signal. According to his phone extractions, call out Gretchen for not confirming that stupid fucking manipulated text from Colin. And did you call her out on missing the lack of date stamp for the January 29th? Within hours, Aiden sent me a barrage of texts, followed by my blog posts trashing me, and eventually putting my non-public phone number on the internet, which people use to send me threatening and vile messages. Kearney also publicly accused me of sleeping with the DA's married public relations officer. The accusation was false. Well, I'll give you this paragraph, okay? But I can't just give it to you. If I believe you had an affair on your husband, that's what I believe. And if I'm going to go on the internet and say you're sleeping with the dude you went out and got a hamburger with, hey, kind of like that note my frontal bum girl. You can give her some information, doesn't matter if she's going to use it, right or wrong. Candy kept at it. Over the following months, his blog attacked me repeatedly. In one bracket-style feature he ran on witnesses, court personnel, and journalists, my name appeared alongside allegations that I had failed as a journalist. Well, he's right about that, and that I had traded editorial favors for a burger dinner with a DA spokesman. My phone number circulated in the Turtle Rider community. Strangers sent me, accusing me of being a shill, a whore, a bad mother. I received calls late at night. When I appeared in the courthouse to cover the trial, woman I had never met called me disgusting repeatedly. You know what? Because you are. Because you're going to go and write that article. The first article that you wrote was shit. Spent 2 hours correcting that one, too. You're wrong. And when you saw the ladies in the steps, they read your article. They read every freaking word of it. And they'll tell you that you're disgusting because you sold out your soul to go trip on mushrooms and get a hamburger. You did real good. Half the stuff in here is from Kate. The girl you did mushrooms with. Great job, Gretchen. Did you get hungry after that and have a hamburger? I'm curious. How'd that happen? Mushroom first? Or did you get the mushrooms on the burger? You get double the mushroom. I don't know. I'm wary about that. None of it changed my reporting found. None of it changed what my reporting found. But it did make clear that anyone who asked hard questions about Karen's case could expect to be answered with the same machinery that was coming for the witnesses. The difference was mostly of 1 degree. No. The harassment in the news of the federal investigation that it fueled served a purpose in Karen Reed's defense, casting doubt on the witnesses by making them appear to be the perpetrators of the crime, and casting doubt on the state's investigators by suggesting that they were the subjects of a federal probe. Karen Reed knew it was working. In a signal message to Aiden on September 29th, she revealed in the effects of his work Look at what you've done to their reputations, she wrote, and to my jury pool. Here we go. Patriots right there, people. Those are patriots. Those are people right there standing up for your right at this moment to be on the internet. These people are standing up for your right. They're standing up for her to write this trash and publish it. That's what these people are doing. So now, right? Like Gretchen Voss, I don't have to like her. Doesn't mean I'm gonna go and trash her or make her life miserable in any way. Absolutely not. I cannot like her and move on. What is other people's issue with Aiden? Why can't they just not like him and move on? You know, they don't have to watch him. The people that want to are. He doesn't have a problem there. Everything I'm seeing here, he's fall within the lines. He's not. I don't see him going out of his way to do anything. The only one idiot did that. Rogie Rogue guy went and took pictures of the bus and the jurors coming in. They arrested him, and he's got continued without a finding or something. But he got arrested for that. As the bus carrying the jurors made its way from an undisclosed location to the courthouse each day in the spring of 2024, the 12 jurors who were supposed to know nothing about the case looked out the windows at a massive banner on Route 1A that read in large red letters, Karen Reed was framed. They passed dozens of protesters camped out at Legacy Place along the bus route, wielding posters with slogans like way beyond reasonable doubt and DA stop lying. Even if they weren't looking, there was no avoiding the sounds of people yelling free Karen Reed at their bus. Though the judge had instituted a 200-foot buffer zone around the courthouse to protect the jurors from the contentious protesters. Wow. Which Aiden led on his bullhorn during pretrial hearings. It did nothing to help. Hundreds of women and some men, clad in pink merch, Reed's requested color, lined the streets across from the courthouse and in the adjacent field, shaking pink pom-poms, dancing to music blasting out of pickup trucks, and walking dogs in Jackson Unionetti shirts. Dogs were cute. I got to give you that. The dogs were cute. So I'm okay with that paragraph. We'll give you that one. I don't agree with the 200-foot buffer zone. Neither did the judge that we went in front of. He didn't think that was right. But if you had business inside, you couldn't go in. Pink merch. Hey, everyone's got a favorite color. Here we go. The jury room on the second floor down the hall from the courtroom overlooked that field, where Reed and her legal team made their entrance and exit every day. We could figure out when Karen was leaving the building and when she was coming back because there were chairs, says one juror in the first trial who requested anonymity to speak about proceedings. When they peeked through the blinds, they could see it all, including, at one point, a bouncy house and lobster food truck. The field transformed into something resembling a circus. Many of them reported it all to the court offices. Nothing was done to stop it. We kept saying, I can't believe they're letting this happen, the juror says. I find that to be a lie. Lie. And I'd love to find the juror and ask the juror if that's exactly what she said. Because, I was there. I didn't see any bouncy houses. I didn't see any bouncy houses. You know what I did see, though? I'll tell you what I did see. Every day. Every single day. I saw Erica Walsh walking up and down the street, picking up cigarette butts, picking up papers that people threw out of their cars. She made that place cleaner than it was before we even got there. Not one piece of paper was on the ground. I can attest to that. And I mean, she was very, very specific. So this whole we got a Ferris wheel over here, the bouncy house, we got the twister over there, mirror house there. That's not anything close. And what I did find out today is there's a school for children that's there, and they may have had a bouncy house for their kids in the back. It's not necessarily a bouncy house, but it sprays water on them too. So in the summer, they bring it out and the kids use it. But that was something completely nothing to do with Karen Reed. Karen Reed did not have any bouncy houses. We did have blow up inflatable stuff at the Star Drive-In when we had a fundraiser for Karen. It was cold as anything that night, and all the we did blow ups, and you walked through the blow ups. A lot of work went into that, but we didn't have no cornhole. We had nothing. We had pick up trash hole, if that was a game. So yeah, the sidewalk was cleaner when we left than it was when we got there. And Erica made sure of it, and I watched her do it every single day. The juror also recounted what another juror had described. His wife had told him that Aiden was assigning nicknames to each of his jurors. Just knowing that was really uncomfortable and not cool. The anonymous juror says, "Fuck off, you anonymous juror." Once the jurors recognized Aiden in the courtroom, she says, they grew nervous. He would definitely identify and dox them. He had done so to a juror in a previous case in that same court. We felt intimidated, she says, adding that about halfway through the trial, the jurors asked court officers to ask the judge to remove Aiden from the courtroom. He was not removed. That's a lie. That's not true. This is not true what she's saying. It is not. Bad writing. On July 1st, 2024, the judge declared a mistrial after the jury said they were deadlocked. The anonymous juror believes Aiden had a direct impact on the outcome. If the conspiracy theory was never created, there's no doubt in my mind that she'd be in jail. No doubt. That's all bullshit. 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 Nope. Aiden had a direct impact on the outcome of the trial. Really? No, not really. No. The day after the mistrial, Paul O'Keefe emailed U.S. Attorney Levy. I would appreciate the opportunity to meet with you regarding your involvement in the murder case against Karen Reed. He wrote, you were kind enough to meet with her and her legal team. Now I think it's time to meet with the family of the actual victim in the case. He never received a reply. He sent another email and another. He left a voicemail. Nothing. The mere fact that they were involved was used in court to create a cloud of doubt. The defense used it as a weapon, says Paul O'Keefe. Nobody would come out and speak and say anything. Maybe you should ask Jen. O'Keefe's family, who filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Karen that August, weren't the only ones who were stonewalled. Helena Rafferty, the Canton police chief at the time, says she repeatedly reached out to Levy and Deitch, begging them to help. She told them that there was an enormous amount at stake, and that if they didn't do something, allowing the invitation of witnesses to continue would set a precedent, allowing the whole justice system to crumble. Hasn't crumbled yet, has it? Are we crumbled yet, guys? Are we crumbled on the justice system? There's so much that she's left out of this. She's wrong on a lot of this. They finally agreed to meet in the fall between Reed's mistrial and the second trial. I repeatedly reached out to Adam Deitch, like these people are getting eaten alive. They're your witnesses too, Rafferty recalls telling him. When she arrived at the meeting, 9 people were seated around a large table, including Levy and Deitch. I said, I'm coming in to beg for help, she says, and opened up a huge portfolio full of abusive letters and emails that had been sent to the witnesses, residents of her town, and I'm crying. I'm saying, help me help these witnesses. This is crazy. She wanted to speak. She wanted them to speak up to tell Aiden's followers, the FKR diehards, these witnesses were, in fact, witnesses, not murderers. Whoa, 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 whoa. We're going to stop right there, my girl. Wow. No. Uh-uh. Paul O'Keefe wants to know what the FBI is doing so that he can tell Jen, who can tell Brian, who can tell who's ever at the DA's office. It's the only reason they want to talk to the feds is to find out what's up. What questions did they ask? Are they asking for me? Are they looking for this one? What? So, yeah, they deserve it. Innocent people have nothing to worry about. Innocent people don't get up there and cry when they're asked a question about the truth. Innocent people don't do that. Levy texted her later. They had to talk about it for a while after she left. Rafferty says he wrote, and there were really nowhere they could go with it. Levy stepped down July 2025 due to the change in presidential administration, and Leah Foley was appointed U.S. Attorney shortly thereafter. Her office contacted Rafferty and other law enforcement figures involved in the case, including Commonwealth Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan, to let them know the investigation was closed. The case that had run for nearly 2 years, during which time they allowed Reed to stand trial for murder twice without intervention, resulted in no charges against any of the witness or against anyone else. The only conviction from the entire investigation was one of the federal grand jurors themselves, who pleaded guilty to leaking confidential grand jury information. I don't know about that. Though Foley told her law enforcement partners that they could announce it and allowed lawyers for Brian Albert and Brian Higgins to state in open court that they were not targets of the investigation, her office never made an official statement. That left the door open for Reed and her followers to hijack and misrepresent the news. I don't know if I believe that, Reed said with a smile when a reporter asked whether she was encouraged or discouraged by the Fed's decision to stop investigating the case. I have good reason not to, from the horse's mouth. Get it? The horse's mouth? Get it? Oh my God, that's so funny. That's right. Innocent people don't lie. They have no reason to lie. You know, the lobster truck, right? We had lobster that day. Steamers, lobsters and steamers. And you know, I know you guys out there are kind of upset. Well, understandably so. But don't forget, we did this. Not them. We did this. We were in charge. We made this happen. She's got nothing. She's got nothing in that, and so she can only report on what happened, you know, and you can tell this has all been fed to her by Kate. So exactly, you telling me she wouldn't have made a great example of that? Of course she would have. Come on, she would have tore him a new one. Make my day. I can see Auntie Bev saying that. All right, we're almost finished here, guys, I think. Oh, my word. She sucks. Wow. Jesus, girl. Yeah, here we go. So, real quick, guys. When the feds come to town, like, they have a blank check. They can do whatever they want. So when they come to town, they don't leave until they got a conviction. This whole not investigating, we're not doing this, that is a bump. That's made to make them all communicate, to see who calls who, see who does what. The only reason they were allowed to say that was for a bump. My opinion on that. Though Foley told her law enforcement partners that they all could announce it, and lawyers for Brian and Brian Higgins in state and open court that they were not targets to the investigation, her office never made an official statement. That left the door open for Reed and her followers to hijack and misrepresent the news. I don't know if I believe that, Reed said with a smile when a reporter asked whether she was encouraged or discouraged by the Fed's decision to stop investigating the case. I have good reason not to, from the horse's mouth. Aiden's stated goal of influence the jury pool. We are trying to affect the jury pool. We are, he shouted at one rally. That's exactly what I'm doing. Appeared, by his own metric, to be succeeding. Jury selection for the state's trial of Reed began on April Fool's Day, 2025. It took 10 days and 591 prospective jurors to find 18 who were deemed fit for trial. The day the jury was brought back into the courtroom to ask a question amid their deliberations, two jurors appeared to look directly at Aiden Canny, who was sitting in the media section, and smile. I was in the courtroom that day and saw it. After they delivered their verdict later that day, as they filled them out, one of them appeared to look straight at Canny and smile broadly. After the case was over, the jury foreman, who later said he didn't take a single note, that's right, was the first witness testified, called the witnesses suspects in a post-trial interview, even though the defense was prohibited from mentioning the theory of their involvement in the crime during the trial. Think about that. They're not allowed to mention what really happened to John. That's so sad. That's because of Bev. Man. In addition to the harassment they continue to suffer, the witnesses now face Karen's own legal lawsuit against them. Alongside the wrongful death suit that O'Keefe's family filed against Reed in 2024, which is still ongoing, Reed has filed her own civil rights suit against witnesses Jennifer and Matthew McCabe, Brian and Nicole Albert, Brian Higgins, and several law enforcement officials, alleging that they concocted a plan, executed a plan, and framed an innocent woman to steer the murder investigation away from themselves. Absolutely yes. That statement's true. Adam Deitch is the sitting U.S. attorney. Reed is heard telling Aiden in a phone call recorded in the months after her acquittal. She was warning Aiden not to tweet about what she calls her private conversations with Adam and the lawyers. She continues, I really don't need federal attorneys knowing that I've leaked stuff to you, and now you're showing it off. I don't know if that whole thing is true or not, but whatever. I asked to meet Deitch to discuss Karen Reed's statements about him and his role in the federal investigation. He agreed, and we spoke for 3 hours over coffee at a restaurant in Milton. In the months before our meeting, Deitch had sold his East Boston condo and moved to Quincy, and left what he calls his dream job at the U.S. Attorney's Office to run for Norfolk County DA. The office whose handling of the Reed case has been the subject of federal investigation that he led. He told me he had heard that the recording of Reed, but denied that he ever had private conversations with her. I've never met Karen Reed or communicated with Karen Reed. He said, I didn't send thank you notes to her and her family after they contributed to my campaign, and I'm proud to have the support of anyone who cares as much as they do about change in Norfolk County DA's office. Mm. Indeed, Reed and her family and her lawyers have donated to Deitch's campaign in each of the past 2 years. At present, Reed's family has contributed more than 5,000 and her legal team at least 9,000. Ask how he can appreciate the support of someone who, on the recording, describes what he insists never happened. He said, I don't know what she meant when she said that. Huh. So they went to. That's odd. So donations. You're talking about Karen Reed's family donating to Adam Deitch's campaign. Anybody have Michael Morrissey's campaign stuff up there? Because I'm pretty sure, Mike, you get people that you work for that have to donate. Well, they don't get a 5-star review because the people who give you the 5-star review are also the same people that take the money and put it in his account for him. So if they're giving Adam Deitch money, I don't see the problem. You're getting money too, Mr. Morrissey, through people that you work for directly, Mr. Morrissey. 2 of Reed's cell phones were seized by state authorities January 2024 as part of an investigation into witness intimidation connected to Aiden Canny. The phones remain in the custody of Norfolk County DA's office while the Commonwealth appeals a March 2026 order to return them to her. On another leaked recording of a call with Aiden, Karen said, do you have any clue what's on my phones that they took? She did not specify. If Deitch wins the election, Reed's cell phones will be under his authority. Aiden Carney, facing charges of felony witness intimidation, made his own view of a Deitch win explicit. In a live stream in November, just days after Deitch announced his campaign, Aiden said, I have no doubt if he was elected district attorney, I think my problems would go away. I would hope so. I think a lot of us would hope so. Morrissey's using the law and the corrupt judges to keep you stifled. And you're in a box. I mean, it's not right what they're doing to you or anyone else. They tried to do it to Karen. Wait till the next Karen Reed comes up and she says, look at what they did to me. What's going to happen then? I put Reed's statements on the recording to Deitch. I'm not going to comment on specific allegations or cases without seeing the evidence, he told me, saying that he has never communicated with or met Aiden Canny. If I have a conflict of interest in a particular case, then I will not be involved in that decision-making of that case. And though he says the Norfolk DA's office has been rife with conflicts, he declined to comment on any of his own. For instance, the chairman of his campaign committee, Michael Loths, is married to fellow DA Ann Petrucci, who has co-prosecuted cases with Deitch, and whom Deitch says is a close friend. Petrucci was also prosecutor for the federal grand jury who leaked confidential information in the Reed case. She requested a lighter sentence than the judge ultimately issued. All right, so she's the one that would leak the information. She got bagged for it. Though Deitch declined to discuss it, talk of an apparent connection and conflict of interest has been circulating online. Petrucci and Reed went to high school together and were both in the Spanish Honor Society, according to a yearbook photo, and were recently, until it was revealed on social media, Pinterest friends. Really? Indeed, Reed reportedly went to the wedding of Ian's sister, Tricia, who was also in the Spanish Honor Society with them. So what's the Spanish collusion now? When asked whether he would reopen the investigation into O'Keefe's death, he has alluded to on the campaign trail. Deitch says, I believe the O'Keefe family has been fed a one-sided set of facts. Although he speaks about the O'Keefes often while campaigning, he first contacted the family, according to Paul O'Keefe, only after Paul emailed him with several reporters CC'd, including this one. Does that mean he believes the family is wrong in that Reed is responsible for O'Keefe's death? If you look at the evidence that's been made public, he said carefully, what's clear to me is that the charges did not match the evidence. He said carefully, what's clear to me is the charges do not match the evidence. That's a lot. That's a pretty bold statement. All right, guys, hold tight. We're almost done. Deitch highlights his work leading the federal investigations into his campaign, but says he cannot discuss its details. The investigation closed early 2025 without charges. What it produced publicly was the text messages found on the personal cell phone of Massachusetts trooper Michael Proctor, lead investigator on the O'Keefe case. Messages so racist and misogynistic, they led to Proctor's dismissal and later the revocation of his law enforcement certification. Deitch has appeared on a YouTube program of Emily C. Woohoo! Go M! A Free Can Read podcaster whose past segments have included mockery of John O'Keefe's mother and of the children of the witnesses. Deitch told me he was open to appearing on podcasts across the political spectrum to reach the widest possible audience. And Emily C., good call. Good call. A few weeks after the interview, Deitch declined an invitation to appear on a show called The Forensic Room, hosted by supporters of the witnesses and the O'Keefe family. Instead, Reed and her father, Bill, attend the grand opening of Deitch's new Quincy campaign headquarters. His campaign to run for the office, Morrissey says, certainly provides plausible motive for misconduct in the investigation as he led as in this. Sister, he's trying to throw him under the bus. Wow. You guys see that? Morrissey certainly provides plausible motive for misconduct in the investigation he led as an assistant United States DA. So if there's anything wrong or bad in the whole Karen Reed thing, it's this guy's fault. Wow. That's messed up. Wow. That's Paul. 5 minutes down the road from Norfolk County DA's office, more than 400 supporters of the witnesses in the O'Keefe murder investigation gathered on a March evening to raise money to defend themselves against Reed's lawsuits. Long tables flanking the ballroom were loaded with merch for sale. There was a silent auction featuring donated Red Sox tickets and Loon Mountain giveaways. Designer upholstered throw pillows starting at a value of more than $600 has been donated by Natalie, the former Aiden Karen Reed intermediary who flew in from California to show support that night. Who wants a $600 throw pillow? I don't even know what I'd do with a throw pillow. Like, no. Inside the crowd, which had grown too large for the dozens of round tables draped in white cloth, rose for a standing ovation for Peg O'Keefe, who was there with her son Paul to support the witnesses. Brian Albert, too, was met with thunderous applause as he took to the microphone. This three-pronged attack was executed with military precision, and it consisted of vicious and unscrupulous defense team, an army of social media lunatics, yay, guilty, and highly unusual and unprecedented federal investigation. Still going on, too, buddy. All coalescing, in my opinion, for the common goal of influencing the outcome of this case, he said. The system, he said, failed them at every turn. They allowed us to be lambs for the slaughter, and it's the worst thing I've ever experienced. And that's saying a lot because I've seen a lot. I've seen the worst humanity has to offer. Well, I mean, what about I like pork chops? The money they raised that evening would go to defend Reed's civil lawsuit against them and to fund a lawsuit of their own. 1 month after the event, on April 16th, Chris Mattei, the lawyer, is he gay? The lawyer for Sandy Hook families who won $1.4 billion defamation lawsuit against Alex Jones for claiming the shooting was a hoax, filed a lawsuit on behalf of Jennifer McCabe, Brian Albert, Colin Albert, Brian Higgins, against Karen Reed and Aidan Canny for defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, civil conspiracy, among other counts. This case arises from a multi-year conspiracy orchestrated by Karen Reed and Aidan Canny to subvert and prejudice the criminal justice system in Norfolk County, Massachusetts. The complaint states Reed knowingly destroyed the reputation and lives of innocent people to deflect attention away from her own culpability. It alleges that Canny received this information exclusively from Reed and her legal team, made no independent journalistic effort to verify the accuracy of the murder accusations before publishing them, repeatedly ignored or dismissed evidence contradicting the narrative. Okay. I need a break for a minute, guys. They're accusing Karen Reed of backing up in the street that hit her boyfriend. Here's what they friggin' idiots don't get. If she went backwards at 24 miles an hour, which is a good number that they picked, because at 25 that triggers the fucking recording shit. 24 doesn't trigger it. 25 it does. But they're at 24.9 miles an hour, of course, right? Sure, Lally. Karen, if she backed up at that speed, hit John. If she backed up and hit him with the car and then hit the brakes after she hit him, she would have ended up in the garage. She would have slid on the snow that was falling when her ABS kicked in. You still slide, by the way, because you would have had to go on the street into the grass, the front yard, because if you were going the other way, you would have hit the Jeep with the plow that was parked right out front. So you had to have gone backwards on the grass as a run out. But there's a 6-inch Cape Cod berm there, so you would have had to jump the berm at 24 miles an hour, go airborne, land, and stop, all within a car length during the snow. And that loser across the street determined that there's no value. Everything I saw in my camera system, that's all recording the street. I got the whole street covered. Everything I saw, don't worry about it. Not a big deal. It only shows the freaking murder, right? And don't worry about it. Idiots. Maddie says a lawsuit put it best. This operation to assassinate the character of innocent witnesses has caused incalculable harm, subjecting them to a daily tidal wave of hatred, harassment, and intimidation, he says. While the damage to them has been catastrophic, Aidan Canny and Karen Reed's lies, which were amplified by a vigorous public relations campaign, have also poisoned the community cohesion, tainted the criminal prosecution of Reed, and deprived the O'Keefe family and the Commonwealth of justice they deserve. No, your detectives fucked up. They're the ones that tainted the criminal prosecution of anybody. You guys, not us. We don't have access to this shit. That's your problem, your responsibility. You screwed up. Don't be putting that shit on us, which is what you're doing, Gretchen. That's their problem. That's their issue. The DA should have got competent fucking people. On his live stream, since the lawsuit was filed, Kenny has called Matai retarded and said Matai would be his play toy for the next few years. He said he would destroy Matai's reputation. Now, when we double down, motherfucker, he said, I have an army of people behind me. The witnesses had stayed mostly quiet throughout the investigation, both trials and years of harassment. At the fundraiser that night, Jen McCabe stood before a crowd of 400 people and spoke. We trusted the process. We trusted the system. If we believed, we told the truth and endured, that would be enough, she said. We were quiet when quiet was right. This time, we're not whispering. Updated July 23rd. The story's been updated to accurately reflect Kenny's phone extraction became public via his now ex-girlfriend. A version of the story appears in the August 26th print issue of Boston with a headline, Read Between the Lines. She also titled it, Read How to Fucking Write a Story. Unreal. There's a lot here, guys. And none of it's got to do with John. It's so not, you're right. Steve, you're right. It's just, it's wrong. It's wrong. If we can point holes in in this, no, shouldn't be able to. Shouldn't be able to. It's a shame. It really is. All right, let me close this. We're good with this. Man, that's been a day. Do you guys have any questions for me, by the way, while we're here? Someone asked me a question earlier, and I answered it about Katie. I answered that honestly. Like, I'm not. There's nothing I'm hiding from. I'm just here to answer questions if you guys got any. If not, we'll call it a day and get some food in our stomachs. Right? Nice. Okay. Listen, I love you all so very much. You all great people. And just don't ever forget, right? That together, all of us together freed Karen Reed, along with her attorneys who did an amazing job. But you, even if it's a 0.00001%, you had help with that. Donna, thank you so very much. You're a sweetheart, Donna. Really, we got a very mutual friend. She's working right now with the animals. You may know her. I don't want to say her name, but if you go to Friendly's and you get a sundae, Paul, thank you, friend. Thank you. Yeah, again, right? So I'll tell you what I think, okay? And this is what tracks. John O'Keefe was going to an after party, correct? After party. Yes, everybody with me so far? After party has music. People dancing, singing, party, right? Birthday party on top of that. John, living in the same town, working on the same police department, he'd never been to Brian Albert's house. Never. He got lost on the way there. With him and Karen got lost on the way there. So John goes to the house with Karen, gets out, goes in. He hears music. John goes in. He's very polite. He takes his shoes off. Nobody notices this till later on. John walks in the house, takes his shoes off. He's in the foyer. Okay. Upstairs is the music. He walks up the stairs, and who's he bump into? The same dude who was on his front lawn that he didn't like. The same dude that was buzzing the Ring doorbell when he was in Aruba, drinking on his deck when he was on vacation with his buddy. Comes face to face with him at the top of the stairs. They start fighting at the top of the stairs. They fight their way down. They're in the foyer. They open the cellar door and they bum rush them down, both downstairs as they're fighting with each other in the headlock. And they go down the stairs. Well, guess what? That is your 3 flights of stairs. Up, down, down. 3. He's down the cellar. Jen runs up, goes in to tell Coco what happened. The dog already knows what's going on. Dog's already aware. Dog bolts out. Dog runs down the stairs, down the cellar. Boom. Take the dog off of him. Bring the dog upstairs. Lock the door. Dog's now going and chewing on John's shoes, which is why they had to get 2 different shoes. Or they used 1 shoe or got 2 different shoes. But the shoes they held up are not the shoes that John walked in that house with. So that's my thought there. I think they kept him in the bulkhead. I think they washed his clothes. And I think they dragged him out there. And, you know, you got to realize dead weight is dead weight. And 275 pounds, you need 2, maybe 3 people to carry that boy. And he's heavy, heavy. So think about that. All right, everybody. You know what? Is Kristen still here? Where's Kristen? Is she here? My mod, Kristen. She said I could get petty. I'm going to plug my phone in. Oh, la, la. Let's see what we can do here. Oh, does it come up? Oh, I got so many things here. No, here it is. All right, come on. Come on. Now, you know what I'll do? I'll pull all this stuff out. I have to do a petty because it's not fair for you guys to have all this stuff getting thrown at you and not know the whole story and how it all fits in together. All the pieces fit. I know I told you guys before how it started. Yeah, my pictures aren't coming up. How it started. I was at a Maureen Hancock event with one of my mods. Me and her went to the Maureen Hancock, and Aiden had a show in Taunton. And I had a chat going, a group chat with a bunch of people in it. that are helping me with my channel as we're going along. Get people helping. And Meredith had no idea what was going on in that group chat, but she wanted to know. So she enlisted her friend Bobby, who was in the chat, and she went through the entire chat until there was something said about Aiden. And she lost her mind and confronted the girl about it. And the girl's like, "What's your problem? And who told you that?" And Meredith said to the girl, face to face, "Tom told me that." So the night before Karen Reed's trial, this was on a Saturday. Karen Reed's opening statements trial, day one was Monday. This happened Saturday. So she told, in front of everybody, she said, "Tom showed me." And she wasn't in the chat. So everyone that was in my chat was at the Turtle Boy event, where she says to them, I gave her access to the chat logs, which I never did. And then she said my name specifically. I gave them to her. She said, and it wasn't me. It was her friend Bobby, that he admitted it. So I never liked her from that start on by her lying. And the problem is she was Aiden's girlfriend. So, like, what do you say? Like, Aiden, you got a nice girlfriend, but she lied. No. So you just shut your mouth and keep going. And I did, But that's what happened. And I attest to this day that they tried to take the show down. They didn't want me on the internet. They didn't want you guys seeing what I was doing with my camera. And anyone that gives me if you see anyone on the internet give me shit, what's the goal? What, do you not want me to go on the internet and show you guys what's going on? Like, how's that help? Right? I don't understand what their end goal is. What, to yell at me? All right. The whole Caitlyn thing. All right. It was a mistake. Absolute 100% mistake. I admit it. I made a mistake. I am not perfect. I'm going to make mistakes all the time. I'll probably make one later on today. That was one. I can admit to that. And I'm okay with that. Because I admitted it and I apologized for it twice. But LFQ brings it up last night like it's a big, whoa, I don't know, you're going to recover from that. I don't know, dude. Oh, dude, it ain't about recovering from anything. It ain't about that. He's looking at it the wrong way. It's not for clicks and views. It's for information. So you guys have the knowledge to make a decision. It's what I've done from day one. These people are trying to tell you what to do, who to like, who to feel, who to talk to. No. You do this for you. And Mike's calling me a simp for Aiden. I disagree. I'm a simp for me. I'm my own simp here. And I want the First Amendment the way it is. Don't fuck with it. Yeah. And the person who they're screwing with is Aiden. They're using him to challenge the First Amendment. And I'm sorry if you can't see that. I can't help you anymore. But there's a problem here. They're going after the First Amendment. What you're doing is under attack, and you can't see it because you're too busy worrying about the other person. No, it's about all of us, people. Everyone you're watching, it involves us. Think of the people that are afraid to say anything because they don't want to catch charges. Think about that, right? I mean, I'm getting letters sent to me saying I'm going to get sued for something I never said. What world are we living in? And who is this person? She's not even licensed to practice in Massachusetts. So why is she threatening me with this letter if she's not licensed? I don't get it. That blows my mind. craziness out there, guys. Crazy town. But yeah, I mean, listen, Mike thinks he's solid and all that good stuff. Remember, Mike bailed when it was tough, when it was hard. He never left his house. He never showed up outside to support Karen Reed. Maybe once out of both trials. But yet, how much money did he make with Bedrow? How much did he donate? But he made it. Money making Mike. Made it with Bedrow. So much that Bedrow said, I'm all done with this. He saw what was going on quick. But you bailed. It was hard. It was really hard out there. And Kate sent you an email. And you got so scared, so petrified that you bailed. You left. Not me, dude. I stuck it out. When the going got tough, dude, I stayed. You bailed. Bye-bye, you bailed. Just like that. How many fundraisers you been to, Mike? How many fundraisers have you had? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, all right, everybody. It's 3:30, time for lunch. You all have an absolutely wonderful day. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for reading that gibberish. It's wrong. She's wrong. And she's got to do a correction. Yes, definitely do a late night. Yep. 100%. Wendy, my pleasure. Thank you for being here. And again, Donna Rash. Donna, I love you to death. My God, you're just awesome. Let me just do this real quick. What's these stars? All right. Sarah, 10 jewels. I got jewels now. I got gold coins. See, that's pretty cool. I got 10 more here, which is awesome. A new member, jewels, more jewels, more. Check this out. That's pretty cool, right? More jewels. This is awesome. So yeah, you guys are sending jewels. Very cool, very cool. All right, guys. It's been fun. And yeah, Mikey's doing good. Mikey's doing good. Oh my, thank you so much. That's awesome. Thanks for the donation. Geez, that's $50. Oh my God, that's a lot of money. Thank you so much. Wow. Wow. That's great. That's just wow. Thank you so much. So all right, you all. I love you all. If you all need something, you send me an email, cputom@gmail.com. And in the meantime, pray that this stuff gets settled and just dealt with the right way. Because this does affect all of us. Either now or in the long run, one way or the other, it's going to affect us. So all you can do is your best, and that's all you can do. Yep. Thanks, Noodle Mama. And thank you so much. I love you too, sweetheart. Yep, you guys are great. Oh, love you guys, and we will see you soon. Me and Noodles will come back and do another one soon. So thanks you all for being here, and I hope you can read that story with another set of eyes, because there's a lot to it. Yeah. And maybe if we had a night, we're working on something. There's something in the works. We'll just say that before it gets cold out, we'll do a movie night for everybody. Before it gets cold, what do you guys think about that? A simple movie night. Bring your lawn chairs, blankets, whatever you want to drink. No one cares. We'll sit and watch a movie, start driving, big blow up screen. What do you think? Good idea? Movie night? Raise some money? Support the star driving? So, working on it, guys. Thinking. Maybe we'll get a blow up house for freaking Gretchen Voss. That would be funny if we had one there, wouldn't it? Got to have a bouncy house for Gretchen Voss. Gretchen Voss bouncy house that exists. Yeah, a real one. Exactly is what I'm saying. We can do it there. We got the room. We can put bouncy houses everywhere, for Christ's sakes. Matter of fact, I may know a guy. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. I don't remember that video of that. I don't. Steve, if you have it, share it, because I don't. I've never seen it. I've heard about it, but I've never seen it. So, all right, guys, give me a check and no. Let me check in, and we'll be in touch soon. Me and Noodles will come up and we'll do a little hello. Sound good? I think it's a good idea. And you guys are wonderful. So thank you all so much. And we will catch you soon. In the meantime, be healthy, be safe, and we all love you much. Thank you much.
Cold mornings, cracked pavement, courthouse steps. He's there before sunrise while the world still rests. No cameras needed, no spotlight glare. Just a man with a purpose, always standing there. Facing the crowd, but the fight in his veins. Truth in his hands, pushing through the rain. Karen sees him, she knows what it means when you've got boots on the ground and you fight for your dreams. Boots on the ground, day after day, standing for truth in the hardest way. No fame, no glory, just a promise kept. Tom CPU, you never left. He don't ask for credit, don't ask for praise. Just fight in the good fight in 1,000 ways. When the cameras fade and the voices die, he's still right there, never asking why. He's got a handshake that you can trust, eyes that don't blink when it comes to us. Karen smiles because she knows it's true. She's got a soldier and his name's CPU. Boots on the ground, day after day, standing for truth in the hardest way. No fame, no glory, just a promise kept. Tom CPU, you never left. When the courthouse is empty and the crowd's gone home, Tom's still walking, he's never alone. 1,000 steps, 1,000,000 prayers, because justice don't sleep and neither does he care.